Welcome to episode 26 of the Other Star franchise, the anti-fascist Star Wars podcast where a couple of Trekkies from the Star Trek fandom discuss Star Wars. We are currently watching a lot of the Star Wars shows, movies, and animation in chronological order leading up to the release of the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Today we are discussing all Season 4 episodes of Star Wars Rebels, which these episodes this season all take place within the year 1 BBY of our chronological rewatch timeline. I'm Fatheree, this is Taylor. Say hi, Miss Taylor.
Hello there.
So, y'all might know us from the TEX-TREK podcast, but we are here to talk about Star Wars, the Other Star franchise today. If you're watching us on a video format of this show, then you should be able to see our spreadsheet on screen right now. If not, there's a link to this wherever you're watching or listening to us. But I talk about the spreadsheet all the time. It has the checklist of the shows and movies that we have already watched in our chronological journey of the Star Wars timeline, as well as it shows what we have coming up next, which is a lot of exciting stuff. We've also been watching Andor along with Rebels. We've been doing the jump back and forth, which is, I don't know, what do you think about what, we've never done this before, Taylor. You know, we've both seen Andor, we've both seen Rebels. We never tried to do this before, tried to watch them in order together. What do you think about this experience of kind of switching gears? I was a little worried about it at first, even though I was super looking forward to these shows.
I think it's good, because I don't think I've never watched Star Wars in chronological order, and so I think it's, like, makes the most sense storytelling-wise, you know, like, because, you know, they, like, create all these things, and they're out of order, and you're kind of, like, mentally plugging them in, you know? But it's different when you watch them all straight through, because you can remember, like, where characters came from or what their last deal was.
Yeah. I know, like, some people, like, they insist, like, oh, you're going to read this book? Well, you should read, like, the prequel novel first that came out, like, 10 years later. And, you know, a lot of times when I hear stuff like that, I'm like, no, you should just go, like, enjoy it in release order. Like, I wouldn't tell...
Okay.
I would never tell someone to, like, go, like, watch Rogue One before they've seen the original trilogy, because like they don't know like the like that movie wants you to know like the weight of stealing the Death Star.
I don't think doing a chronological Star Wars rewatch or like watch the first time is the right way. You have to do everything in release order always, and then once you've watched it the first time all the way through and you have all the context and stuff, then I think you should go and do a chronological watch.
Yeah, because it's very revealing. It'll reveal a lot of different... There's a lot of things that were revealed to us, I think, doing this that we wouldn't have thought about the other way.
But, like, if you watch this... Like, we were just talking about we were talking to one of my friends' friends yesterday about... She'd never seen the original trilogy, and she doesn't know anything about it. And I was like, well, you have to watch those first. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't watch The Mandalorian first. Like, you have to watch the original trilogy.
Even, like, the Star Wars... Even, like, the Phantom Menace. You know, when Qui-Gon Jinn is like, Anakin Skywalker, meet Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Like there's no reverence to that.
Yeah, like, it wants you to... But it wants you to know, like, oh, yeah, these people are going to have history, like, in the future. Like... In Attack of the Clones, when Obi-Wan says to Anakin, like, why do I get the sense you're going to be the death of me? That's made for an audience who knows that, oh yeah, eventually Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader have a lightsaber battle on the Death Star.
But also, like, the big reveal in the original trilogy is, like, Darth Vader being Luke's father.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't know that fact, sorry if you didn't know. I mean, everyone knows that, right? But
I bet, like, our niece Larkin doesn't know that. Like, we could show her these movies and that would blow her mind.
Exactly. And that's why you gotta start with that. Because if you watch in chronological order, then there's no surprise there, and it doesn't have as much meaning. To the audience, I guess. Anyway.
But, yeah, this has been a fun way to watch Clone Wars and Bad Batch and Rebels, because there's a lot of stuff in those three shows that kind of bounce off of each other. So, But I was worried about Andor just because like that show is so good. I was like, is it gonna make all the rest of Star Wars look like shit? And sorry, I'm such like an Andor whore, but yeah, like that is by leaps and bounds the best piece of Star Wars media made since the original trilogy. You said like, oh, it's better than the original trilogy. It's just like the best period.
Yeah.
So we're big Andor stans in this house, but yeah, I was like, man, like the Empire is so menacing and scary and real, and like it feels like, man, like this is like an institution that I can actually like imagine existing in kind of a real world environment. How can I go back and forth between that and then the bit more cartoonish, bit more made for audiences of all ages, but like the scrappy heroes on Rebels making jokes as they're shooting at stormtroopers and then being like, oh man, like these guys can't aim, for, you know, they're so terrible, and just making them look like buffoons a lot. I was really worried about that. Turns out like wasn't that big of a deal. Yeah, there might have been like a couple instances where that bothered me, but overall, Rebels was kind of refreshing from the seriousness of Andor, but also kind of enhanced when there's a lot of things they kind of have to just hint at or just kind of imply in Rebels. But when you're watching Andor at the same time, you're like, oh yeah, these are really terrible people they're dealing with the Empire.
Right.
I think honestly, it just kind of balanced out Andor. Like, oh, we get like a little lighthearted adventure every now and then to make it not be such a grim, dark, miserable story that we're telling ourselves. So this final season, though, you know, now that I've watched Rebels again, we've completed it. I gotta say, this is the most fun I've ever had watching Star Wars Rebels. It's the first time that we've watched it together. Yeah. Seriously, like we used to like put the show on in the background sometimes when we eat dinner because you know we both are big fans of it. But I'm excited to talk about season 4. So we're gonna go through the whole season in order, starting with there's a 2-part story that opens the season. So just to remind people, season 3 of Rebels, back in the year 2 BBY before we moved into 1 BBY. It's cool. All of this is like months away from Luke blowing up the Death Star. Keep that in mind. But at the end of season 3 of Rebels, they lose their base. Chopper base is attacked by Thrawn, and they are able to survive because they get some Mandalorian help for Sabine. So season 4 opens with them returning the favor and trying to help Sabine on her mission to unite her family, Clan Wren, against the Empire. So before we get to the Lothal stuff that ends the series, we got to talk about the Heroes of Mandalore, parts 1 and 2, the season 4 episodes 1 and 2. Taylor, what happens in Heroes of Mandalore?
Sabine, Kanan, and Ezra lead Clan Wren in a raid on a Clan Saxon outpost to rescue Sabine's father, who is being held captive by Clan Saxon on behalf of the Empire. The outpost turns out to be a trap to capture Sabine, but they are rescued by Lady Bo-Katan of Clan Kryze. As Bo-Katan should have become ruler of Mandalore after her sister, Duchess Satine Kryze, was murdered, Sabine attempts to give her the Darksaber, but Bo-Katan refuses to accept it. Sabine's father is to be moved to the capital city for public execution, so Sabine plans to rescue him as he is being transported there. They attack the convoy and succeed in rescuing Sabine's father, Ulrich Wren, who turns out to be as much of an artist as Sabine. Sabine is contacted by her mother just as the Empire reveals a new weapon, the sound of which Sabine recognizes. They rush to the site of the attack and find every Mandalorian warrior vaporized. Sabine is devastated as she realizes they were killed by a weapon she personally designed for the Empire, but is relieved to find her mother and brother have survived the attack. As more Imperials arrive, Sabine and her allies are rescued by Clan Kryze, while Bo-Katan and Ezra destroy the pursuing TIE fighters. Saxon shows a recording of the weapon's field test to Thrawn. The weapon superheats an alloy in Mandalorian armor, killing the occupant, but leaving stormtroopers unharmed. At Bo-Katan's camp, her men confront Sabine for her role in the creation of the weapon, which she named the Duchess after Bo-Katan's sister, Satine. Sabine convinces Clan Kryze to join her in a raid on Saxon Star Destroyer to destroy the weapon. During the assault, Sabine is incapacitated by Saxon, who orders her to adjust the weapon to its full power. She does so, but she also recalibrates the weapon to target Imperial armor, which stuns the Imperial troops. Sabine slashes the weapon with the Darksaber, breaching its power core and destroying the Star Destroyer. At the Kree's camp, Sabine gives Bo-Katan the Darksaber, making her the true leader of Mandalore.
So, a lot of big, important stuff for Mandalore lore. One of the things that we're trying to pay attention to in this chronological rewatch is all the Mandalorian stuff that might, be relevant in the upcoming movie, or at least the TV show, The Mandalorian. So, Bo-Katan comes back in The Mandalorian, no longer with the Darksaber. This is all, like, big plot points for seasons 2 and 3 of that show. But just a couple of things I want to point out. I think it's, like, a really cool action-y heist when they go rescue her dad from that convoy.
Yeah.
That was really cool. We get, like, the new Saxon, Tiber Saxon, whatever, like little brother Saxon. Yeah. We're like, he's not to be trusted the whole episode when he has this weapon that targets anyone in Mandalorian armor. And
he is wearing stormtrooper
He wears stormtrooper armor the whole episode, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't trust the Empire, but he's still willing to work with them.
The Imperial, they're called Imperial Commandos, I guess is the name of that episode that introduced them. But yeah, the Imperial Mandalorians. But it was cool to see Bo-Katan. This is her only appearance in Rebels. For some reason, I thought she was in this show more, but
so
just like one episode, yeah.
Well, 2, I guess.
Yeah, technically, yeah, this counts as 2. But only one story, put it that way.
Yeah, I thought she was in it way more as well.
But, so her big issue in The Mandalorian, spoilers for that show, but that's okay. Here on the other Star franchise, we can spoil anything but Skeleton Crew, because we haven't watched that yet. But we will soon. But anyways, in season 2 of The Mandalorian, Din Djarin, the Mandalorian, like, he has the Darksaber. I guess it's like the end of season 2, like, he gets it in battle from Moff Gideon. And he tries to hand it to Bo-Katan, and she won't accept it. She's like, I did that one time, I accepted it, and things didn't work out. Like, it has to be, like, won in battle. But this is the time she's referring to, when Sabine was just like, here.
Right.
I just kind of came across this. I got possessed by a witch ghost, and I woke up next to this Darksaber. Maybe you should have it.
Yeah, she's like, I hate this thing. I don't want it. What's kind of interesting, though, is if we do follow Bo-Katan's theory that she needed whoever, like, has it, or, like, won it, or whatever. Does that mean that Sabine was supposed to be, like, the Mandalore ruler?
No, because she didn't take it from Maul in battle.
Oh. So it's just kind of, like, limbo, Darksaber.
Well, I think what it is that, like, so our heroes go and have, like, a big victory on Lothal after this, right? It doesn't work out for Bo-Katan, though. Like, she tries to basically liberate Mandalore from the Empire, and then, like, Moff Gideon comes in and blows up all of her people, everyone loyal to her. And Moff Gideon takes the Darksaber from Bo, right? And then that's why he has it later.
Yeah.
So, but I'm looking forward to getting back to that stuff now after being refreshed on all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm saying, is like, when you watch the stuff in order, a lot of times it's very revealing.
Yeah.
You have any other thoughts on Heroes of Mandalore?
Yeah, I liked her dad. I thought it was cool seeing him be, like, the artist and critiquing her work, and they hadn't seen each other in so long. Oh, like whenever he's, like, in the transport thing, and she bombs the I don't know what that is, like, the prison boat, the prison ship thing, with paint, and then he goes like, "Oh, Sabine."
Oh yeah,
that was really cute.
The windshield of that vehicle gets covered in purple, and all the stormtroopers like, "What the hell? What the hell's going on?" And then Sabine's dad's like, "I know exactly what's going on."
Well, that's cool because, like, they haven't seen each other in a really long time.
Yeah,
so
years.
He still associates paint bombs with his daughter.
That's another thing. Okay, it's been a long time. So this is the year 1 BBY. So Ezra he's supposed to be like the same age as the twins, so he is 18, maybe even like 19 at some point. So Sabine, she's got to be 20 or 21. She's 2 years older than him. But just at the beginning of the show, Sabine was 16. But she had dropped out of the Imperial Academy. But she had dropped out from the Imperial Academy with enough time to become a bounty hunter and then become a rebel and be part of the Ghost crew.
Right.
But for a little bit, she was off doing her bounty hunter stuff. So how old was she when she was in the Imperial Academy?
I think
like 13?
12 to 15, maybe.
So
I don't think the bounty hunter thing lasted very long for her.
Yeah, I guess that could have been like 6 weeks. But
yeah.
That's still, like, she was pretty young at the Imperial Academy when she was designing this super weapon.
Yeah, she's really, really smart. She's the weapons
like,
expert.
This is my 7th grade science fair project.
Yeah, that's kind of insane to think about, honestly. This kind of reminded me, I always bring this up, but there's a lot of, like, parallels well, I guess not really parallels, but similarities between, like, Avatar: The Last Airbender and this show. But this reminds me a lot of the Fire Nation, like, always having, like, new weapons being built because, like, it's funded by war and they have all these scientists and smart genius kids. They're very
industrialized. It's kind of like a fire, like Prometheus's flame, like fire kind of represents, like, technology and science and...
Right, but also, like, in war, like, technology typically does advance.
Oh, yeah, because fire needs to, like, burn and spread, Yeah.
So, but that's kind of what this reminded me of. It's like, oh, well, the Empire is the Fire Nation, and they're using, like, their resources.
Like the United States. Like, look at how much money we spend on funding. We're the, only developed... It's so dumb to say this, because, like, everyone with half a brain, like, knows how I'm going to finish the sentence as soon as I start it. But we're the only developed nation in the world that doesn't have what? Doesn't have access to, like, public access to Medicare.
Oh, yeah.
And we have this weird employer insurance program. But we spend more money on military spending than all the other nations in the world combined.
Priorities.
So. Yeah, so who's the Fire Nation? Who's the Empire? Yeah, it was really cool seeing all the Mandalorian stuff. And that planet that House Wren lives on, they're I guess we don't see that in this episode. They're all like actually on Mandalore. So this is the only time like in Rebels they actually are on Mandalore. Before it was they conquered Dawn and then Crow's Nest or whatever, Sabine Wren's mom, Ursa, right?
Yeah.
Whatever the planet they were on. We can move on to 2 more episodes. Season 4, episodes 3 and 4, In the Name of the Rebellion. Taylor, tell us what happens there.
Ezra, Kanan, and Sabine arrive on Yavin 4 to join the main group of the Rebel Alliance. Hera's squadron also arrives in an emergency fuel dump landing, having barely survived an Imperial ambush, which Bail Organa attributes to an Imperial communications relay on Jalindi. A droid projects a hologram of Saw Gerrera who mocks Mon Mothma for her unwillingness to go to any lengths to defeat the Empire, and Mothma angrily responds, refusing to stoop to the violence and extremism committed by Gerrera's cell. She sends the Ghost crew on a mission to intercept the relay's transmissions. Sabine inadvertently connects them to the main channel on an approaching light cruiser, forcing Ezra to impersonate an Imperial officer. Unfortunately, it is the very officer who is commanding the cruiser, Brom Titus. Sabine calls for Hera to pick them up, as they have been seen. Before she can do so, a U-Wing piloted by Gerrera arrives, picks up Ezra and Sabine, then bombs the relay dish, destroying it and the cruiser. Hera demands Gerrera transfer Ezra and Sabine, but he jumps into hyperspace. Technically kidnapping, I would say. Literally.
No, they said they would go. They said they didn't mind going on the mission with them.
Gerrera convinces Ezra and Sabine to aid him in discovering the secret weapon he is convinced the Empire is working on. They board an Imperial cargo shuttle disguised as a regular civilian spacecraft and discover a group of prisoner engineers from the planet Coruscant who are being shipped to Jeddah for an apparent project. Gerrera insists that this is more evidence of a secret weapon. They also find a giant kyber crystal, which they plan to haul out of there with the prisoners. Chopper attempts to get the prisoners out of harm's way via escape pod, though they are stopped by the Empire. When the plans to get the crystal off the ship fails, Guerrera blasts it so it will explode. He calls two tubes to pick him up, and Ezra and Sabine are rescued by the Ghost Crew after destroying a massive Star Destroyer. The engineers decide they want to join the rebel cause, and they head back to Yavin 4.
Okay, so the, I guess, final Saw Gerrera appearance on Rebels. He showed up once in Season 3 and then again here in Season 4. This episode was interesting. It was cool to see. We now get to see, like, Mon Mothma at Yavin. Like, that's home for her right now.
Yeah.
And they in the show, they keep mentioning, like, Rebel Command. So they have, like, the Rebel Alliance, like, command is, like, set up here. And I kind of would like to have seen more of the clash between Saw Gerrera and Mon Mothma. I almost wish, like, this stuff could be handled in Andor instead of Rebels, where they could have had a, you know, a bit more
messy.
Yeah, but they could also have, like, more time to stew in it, and just, like, the conversations wouldn't be so, hey, let's just, like, paint with, like, a real broad brush and get the point across real quickly and keep it simple. It would have been like a bit more nuanced. But Mon Mothma says that Saw Gerrera targets civilians, so I don't like that. That's not cool, Saw Gerrera. But it's also interesting to me that they, like, spend all this time talking about Saw Gerrera, how like oh, he's so violent and extreme, and we can't fight the Empire his way. But he's always down to collaborate with the other rebels.
Yeah.
He's like,
I know y'all talk shit about me, but here's some information.
You should have listened to me about Jalindi, and like here's another relay that you should just. And then, you know, like in Rogue One, like when he captures the pilot Bodhi, or that's his name, right? And he finds out more info on the Death Star. Like he calls Yavin and tells them, you know. So, or have they, like, cut ties with them then, and that's why they needed Jyn Erso to go?
Yeah, I think
that
they were trying to get her to go be his soft spot.
Okay. So maybe his collaboration will end soon, but I like his, like, black U-wing that him and Two Tubes are riding around in.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But Forrest Whitaker he's a really good voice actor. Like, he, like, really gets into playing Saw on Rebels. Like, nothing against Genevieve O'Reilly as Mon Mothma. Like, I was just telling you the other day how it's so unusual for me as this old school original trilogy purist to be like, you know what? Genevieve O'Reilly is my Mon Mothma. The lady from Return of the Jedi, like, I know she was the original, but, like, I don't even think of her when I think of Mon Mothma. I picture this new lady. But I feel like they could have... I'm glad that she did the voice acting for Mon Mothma on Rebels, but I feel like they could have gotten anyone. Just like...
Yeah, but didn't she start there? Or no, she was in the prequels.
She was in Revenge of the Sith in a scene that was deleted.
Right.
But
she was kept for the voice and then reused.
Well, they brought her back... I think someone else did her voice in Clone Wars, but after they brought her back in Rogue One, she did the voice.
Gotcha.
In the animation stuff.
Gotcha.
And she works on Andor, and she shows up again in one of the other shows. She shows up in Ahsoka, right? She's like the Supreme Chancellor of the Republic, post Return of the Jedi.
I'm not sure. I don't remember that, but very likely. My memory's not great.
We'll get back to that eventually. But I like I saw in this episode he seemed way more how he is in Andor than like how he was in Season 3.
Yeah, they write him closer and closer to his endgame character.
Yeah. And the Kyber crystal from Jeddah that Saw Gerrera turns into a bomb, it looked very much like the Kyber crystal from the Crystal Crisis at Utapau. Yep. In Season 1 of Rebels, there is that ship hauling Kyber crystal. See, this is like kind of a cool thing when you're watching all Star Wars in chronological order, and you start seeing, like, the Empire starts doing all, like, this weird stuff to, like, build up the Death Star, you know? They're also, like, working on the cow kite on Gorman and Andor. Yeah. And in an upcoming episode, Tarkin mentions Project Stardust to Thrawn.
Yeah. And
how it's becoming more of a headache.
And also how that prison Andor was on made the pieces for the Death Star, like the connectors or whatever. So, definitely seeing this thing getting built over years and years and years.
So this is and Saw Gerrera, at least like in Rebels, you see him go on a journey from he knew that the Empire built something at Geonosis, and then there's maybe it's some type of super weapon that requires Kyber crystal, and here he learns like they're digging up Kyber on Jedha. So, and this is just like a few months away from the events of Rogue One, where we see him and his whole operation. It seems like him and his men, they've relocated to Jeddah. So, we'll be talking about that very soon, probably like on Sunday. So, looking forward to finishing Andor and discussing Rogue One. Yep. But as far as Rebels, anything else on In the Name of Rebellion before we move on? Or in the Name of the Rebellion, I should say.
I do think that this episode kind of like marks a theme for season 4 of Ezra and Sabine really being in sync and working together a lot. Like they end up going on like the away missions together, just the two of them, super often now. And they keep referring to them as the kids.
I kind of want to see them together as adults. I kind of like I don't know if that's like the plan for like the post Ahsoka version of these characters, where they're like, I guess they're like in their early 30s by then. But
yeah,
I don't know. I don't really remember. Like I remember what they look like, but I don't really remember the performances that well from Ahsoka. So I'm looking forward to getting. I know like some fans, it's no surprise. Like anytime you go from like animation to live action, I think you're going to have some fans who are like, well, that's not how I pictured them in live action. And it's going to be, like, you can't please everybody. So I just, like, I don't know. Maybe they'll please me. Maybe they won't. We'll reevaluate that when we get to it.
Yeah, but I really like the way that Ezra and Sabine work together. And I like that they dropped all the, like, awkward little brother flirting with stepsister vibes.
Yeah.
Like, that was too much.
Like,
There's more like a we're both soldiers together in this weird family we have, and I respect you, and you're really smart. And, like, they've both grown up with each other now at this point. And I like to see them, like, trust each other and be, I don't know, supportive and friends. And, they still care about each other deeply, but it doesn't have to be romantic,
Yeah, it's a big theme of the season is kind of seeing the two of them have matured. And there's another thing, like when he met her dad. Oh yeah. And he was like, "Are you with Sabine?" And he's like,
"Yeah, I'm with Sabine."
But no,
he's like, wait.
Not like that.
Yeah, he was like, "We're just friends."
Yeah,
it was so funny. That was cute.
Yeah, and then like the way that the season ends with the two of them.
Yeah.
Kind of circles back to the stuff at the beginning of season 4. So we'll get to that when we get to that. But as for right now, let's talk about Season 4, Episode 5, The Occupation.
The rebels are informed by Ryder Azadi that the Empire is building a new and improved version of the TIE Defender. Ezra and the Ghost crew depart for Lothal using Vizago to smuggle them in because the Empire has severely tightened its grip around the planet and nearly crushed the local rebel cell. They find the environment ruined by the Empire's activities and that some acquaintances, like Old Joe, were arrested and executed for aiding rebels. Identified and chased, Ezra's crew finds unexpected aid from Ezra's old academy friend Jai Kell and Azadi himself, who ferry them to safety, but are sorely disappointed to hear that the Rebel Alliance is unable to execute a liberation strike on Lothal. Ezra tries to stay optimistic by telling them that they can destroy the TIE Defender factory by working together, though Azadi remains skeptical due to having witnessed the capabilities of the TIE Defender elite. Well, this one is a bummer episode. It's like, things have gotten severe on Lothal.
It's like when you go to your old bar you used to go to a lot. Like, I used to be a regular here, and you go to it, and like the new crowd, the new vibe, it's just so off. It's not like how it used to be. This was me at Jackalope the other day.
Yeah.
Who's the Imperial bartender, the Baron?
Oh yeah, that guy sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Baron
that was...
Rhubar, whatever his name was. Yeah.
I thought that like the burning of the land and stuff was pretty intense. Like Lothal is like famous for those giant fields of like yellow grass.
Wheat fields, yeah.
Yeah. And man, it was rough to see like all of the planet like on fire.
You see that shit burning from
space. Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, I forgot the environmental damage was so bad. But so they like Ezra goes back to his home planet and he sees like these wanted posters of him all over the place, and he's like, "Hey, why do they use that little kid picture? They're using like the season 1 character model. Why didn't they use like the season 3 character model where I'm bigger?" But his friend Jai shows back up. Speaking of Avatar, voiced by the Zuko guy.
Yeah, I think Michael Dante.
A very recognizable voice. And they team up with Ryder Azadi again, so he has a pretty big role in season 4, it turns out. And then Clancy Brown also comes back in
Avatar. Oh, and he's an Avatar.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's in everything.
Yeah.
He's also in Clone Wars. He's also in The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
But yeah, very busy actor. But this episode, it really ties into the next episode, Flight of the Defender. But he's like, that's another big part of season 4 is stopping Thrawn's TIE Defender program. We'll talk more about Morgan Elsbeth and stuff to come. But yeah, this was all her big thing. But Taylor, tell us what happens in season 4, episode 6, Flight of the Defender.
The Ghost Crew scouts an Imperial airfield where the TIE Defender Elite is being tested. Sabine hits upon the idea of stealing its flight data recorder to obtain the information the rebels need about the TIE. But unfortunately, Grand Admiral Thrawn appears to witness a combat demonstration of the new fighter. Cornered, Sabine steals the fighter to get herself and Ezra to safety, but due to an installed kill switch, the fighter ends up stranded in the hills of Lothal. While hiding the TIE's hyperdrive for later retrieval and then trying to evade the Imperial search parties, Ezra catches several unexpected glimpses of a white Lothwolf, a rare predatory species. Eventually, the Lothwolf appears before him, sending Sabine to sleep, and carries them back to their friends, only to disappear as mysteriously as it appeared, leaving Ezra with a strange parting message, doom, to ponder over.
So this is when the wolves start to talk in the show.
It's light. There's only one episode where they have more than like one word that they say.
I do remember watching Rebels the first time and getting a little freaked out here. It's like this show might be getting a little too weird with the Force stuff.
Aw.
But yeah, you're right. It never goes too crazy, other than like the talking wolves, and there's like some weird teleportation things that come up later.
I like that stuff too.
But this episode also has Volt Scaris, the flight instructor, when Sabine was at the Imperial Flight Academy with Wedge.
Mm-hmm. That
guy, Volt Scaris, he's the test pilot for the Defender. I guess, I don't know, he doesn't really amount to much this season, but kind of cool that they build him up to be this kind of like badass bad guy pilot that later Hera has to deal with. What do you think of the TIE Defender with those 3 wings, by the way? Just like look at that design.
It reminds me of something, but I can't like put it's like almost like origami.
You know how we were just watching some of these episodes to finish the season, and you said you don't like the Imperial gunships that look like the Republic clone gunships, but with the TIE fighter wings on the side?
Yeah.
So I like those, but I can see how like they look too clunky and awkward. But that's how I feel like the TIE Defender looks, with like the 3 wings on it. It's just, I don't know. It's just too it's too unbalanced like that. But they make a big deal of how formidable of ships they are. Like every time it shows one in combat, it always like blows up a Y-wing or X-wing immediately. So this is during like a time when Ezra is really wanting to liberate Lothal. Like he really wants the Rebel Alliance to come help drive the Empire off of his planet and keep it free, which Mon Mothma is like, hey, that might not be realistic. We tried to gather forces to go attack this TIE fighter construction factory on your planet. We tried to, like, rally a lot of ships together at Chopper Base, and then Thrawn came and wiped us all out, so maybe we're not ready for that type of large-scale engagement. But ever since then, Ezra has felt like shit because he told Ryder Azadi, he was like, hey, don't worry about it, we'll be there, like, tomorrow. Like, Mon Mothma's already signed off on it, we're going to do this. And then it got canceled, and then he's like, he can't get approval to do this again.
Yeah. Don't make promises you can't keep, Ezra.
Well, he thought he could. He didn't know that Thrawn was going to come wipe out their fighters. But even here, like, Thrawn knows that there's a bigger operation going on, right? He knows that the rebels are planning something on Lothal, and the wolf stuff. I guess this is the first time the show has said that Kanan Jarrus's previous name was
Doom.
Caleb Doom. If you'd read the Kanan comic book, though, it says it in that. And we also met little kid Caleb Doom in the Bad Batch. Yeah. But the Loth Wolves are talking to him. Let's move on to season 4, episode 7, Kindred. What happens then?
Ezra, Jai Kell, and Zeb move to secure the TIE Defender Elite's hyperdrive before the Imperial recovery team can find it. But Thrawn has already dispatched an additional helper for the search, Rook, an assassin and unerringly accurate tracker. But Zeb takes the hyperdrive to safety. Ezra and Jai end up being chased by Rook. They elude him with much difficulty, but a tracking beacon, Rook attached to their speeder, leads Governor Price to the Ghost Crew hideout. While Hera and Chopper evacuate to Yavin with the stolen flight record, the rest of the rebels face the incoming Imperials to recover their retreat. Just before the two groups clash, the White Loth Wolf reappears and leads them into a hidden tunnel complex imbued with the Force. Walking mysterious paths, the rebels inexplicably find themselves in a hidden settlement halfway across the planet, which was visited in ancient times by the Jedi who erected the secret temple on Lothal, and discover that the Loth Wolf is a messenger of the Force, here to tell them of a more sinister goal pursued by the Empire.
Yeah, so Hera makes it back to Yavin in this episode, right? This is when they had to... What ship does she take to get back over there? Like, they had to steal that...
I think it's a little shuttle transport thing. Like, something I think they had to steal from the Empire.
Right.
I don't remember what ship it was, but...
Was it I'm wondering if it was, like, one of the Lambda shuttles or something.
I don't know.
But anyways, because they had to come over on like a undercover ship,
and that it blowed up.
Yeah, but they couldn't take the Ghost, so like they're stuck with like no ship. So just like getting someone back to Yavin.
Yeah, it was a whole feat.
Yeah.
Rook is a scary addition to the show.
Yeah, so this is his first appearance. We had seen him in Tales of the Empire, but voiced by Warwick Davis.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's menacing, man. He's I don't know, like he's... Did you ever play the video game Serious Sam?
No, but I remember when it was out. I know about it.
There were like these creatures that looked kind of like that. They were like flump, 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 like running at
Okay.
you, that were like really scary and like definitely alien looking kind of. But he kind of reminds me of that. And he always is like so intense with his nose and like his eye contact in these episodes. Like Rook is terrifying. He even scares the shit out of Zeb. And I think it's implied that Rook's species is like a predator to Lasat's, because Rook is always like, I smell Lasat.
Yeah.
I smell Lasat.
And
Zeb is actually
weapon.
kind of scared of him.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like it implies that Rook's species is like specifically a predator of Lasat's, and that might be why Thrawn like hired him.
So that species is in the books that Thrawn is from, Heir to the Empire, And in that, he has like a whole bunch of them that serve him.
Mm.
And there's like this really cool scene. I always remember it because it's so cool. But it's like a bunch of these guys, like they're sent after Luke Skywalker, and they're like doing their parkour and turning flips and stuff. And Luke is fighting these guys, and Luke is doing like every trick in the book to try to stop them. I think he like force pulls like a big curtain or tapestry or something like off the wall, and then like wraps some of them up in it. But like they won't give up. Like anything like Luke tries, like they still keep coming at him. And then Luke is finally like, well, I guess there's no other way out of it. I guess I failed to get out of this without bloodshed. And then he pulls out his green lightsaber and just like cuts them all down in like 20 seconds. But he's just like, you're just like reading like page after page of like Luke trying to evade these guys. And then finally he's like, I guess I have to give up. And then he just takes them all down instantly.
Damn.
But it was like, and he felt bad about it. He's like, man, this is like such a failure of myself. But, and see, that's like the kind of like Jedi values I want the Jedi to go back to, and not being like, well, we're probably not supposed to be generals in this war, but I guess we'll do it anyways, because that's what the establishment wants us to do. Like,
right.
But speaking of that, I talk a lot about how I don't really like ancient Jedi stuff. I think I just want them as just kind of like these mythic figures that are rare. I think that's my preferred presentation of Jedi in Star Wars. However, I know there is a huge appetite in the fandom to see the Jedi like in their glory days. That's why people love like the Old Republic stuff. I'd kind of be curious to learn more. I mean, on the other hand, I said be curious to learn more. I don't want to destroy the mystique of it, but I would possibly be curious to learn more about the Jedi who came to Lothal and built this temple and learned from the wolves how to travel from pole to pole of the planet. That seems kind of cool.
Yeah.
Even though I think it's weird. It's I think my thing is like I want the rules to be clear. Like I need there to be like clear rules to this stuff.
Yeah, but see, the thing about that is like there can't be clear rules because all the people who knew the rules are dead.
Right, but to me as like an audience member, like I need to understand what the characters are capable of and what they're not capable of, so that I understand like the stakes and the severity of situations. Like I don't know, could like these wolves, like could they just also like, if they can transport people from pole to pole, like maybe they can transport all the Star Destroyers into the sun. Like maybe they could just like transport themselves to Coruscant and then like transport Palpatine into a prison cell somewhere, and it's just like
they live on Lothal and they're still animals, so it's like they're limited to that planet, and also they're not very friendly.
Why can't you do this on Tatooine?
Because they don't have the force tunnels on Tatooine. They're on Lothal.
But why? Like I just want to have like a little bit of. I just think like in general like storytelling, like you need like if you're bringing in these otherworldly forces, it works better when there's clear rules to it.
Yeah, so in my mind, those rules all exist. They're just forgotten. So we as an audience can't know about them because all of that knowledge has been lost to time and destruction of the Jedi Temple and stuff. So for me, I'm just like, well, we'll just have to roll with it because that's what our characters are having to do, you know? Like, our characters don't know their limitations. Half the time, Ezra's being chased by the wolves in an angry way.
But as I'm watching Rebels, I think it was honestly today, I think I realized one of my big hang-ups with the Mortis stuff is partly that, and I think it would be like a little bit more clear if it was live action instead of animation. And I hate to say that because I love like defending animation. I think it's a shame that people tend to respect live action stuff more and don't want to give the same attention to animation. But I feel like when you're dealing with things that might be like bending reality and it's unclear what looks real and what doesn't look real, like to the characters and stuff, I feel like with like the Mortis stuff, like I kind of wish I knew a little bit more of like, well, what was that supposed to look like to Anakin and Obi-Wan and Ahsoka, and like what was real and what was supposed to be more dreamlike. And it's kind of hard to tell in animation, and just the season 4 Rebels brings up the Mortis stuff, and I think it's similar with this stuff. Like I want to know, I don't know, like what I just need like the rules to be a little bit more clear.
What we really want, Dave Filoni, if you ever listen to this, is we want your notebooks published in an entire, like,
but
how I see the Force and, like,
but
my understanding of the Force history.
I think he has weird shit in there that, like, George Lucas explained to him when they worked together. And that, like, Filoni knows, like, okay, I know this is, like, George's vision, but no one else is going to like this if I show it to anyone.
But yeah, I think it would be cool to have, like a breakdown of, like, how the Force works to Filoni. You know what I mean? Like, what his ideas are, and, like...
But I know he has secrets that he doesn't want to...
He's not ready.
He doesn't want to give away.
I know he's not ready, but I'm saying that, like, one day this book should exist.
I don't know if he has kids, but I hope, like if he dies or something, I hope, like, his kids are like, I'm going to publish all of my dad's notes. Like, here it all is. So,
you lay it all out there.
Yeah.
We need this to understand this one episode of Rebels. Thank you. The other thing I wanted to bring up again is another Avatar parallel of, like, in Korra, they have the harmonic convergence where the hemisphere, or the poles open to each other.
This is very, very Korra.
Very similar. I mean, in this, like, we don't really see, like, the pathway. We just see, like, the wolves kind of sink into the earth and then they show up on the other side. But, yeah, like, that, like, pole-to-pole theory, like, major planet travel, those are both very... similar in these stories. But I think that's pretty cool. I think it's cool that they had a quick escape route. I mean, it's kind of convenient, but I think it's neat to have these crazy wolves involved. They're pretty menacing. I'm scared of them half the time. I like that
the animation is so good. They look so cool. The designs are cool.
I like how massive they are. Like, they're intimidating as hell.
They're like the Mononoke wolves.
Yes, totally.
Filoni is a big fan of Studio Ghibli, like Miyazaki stuff. I mean, like, hell, anyone who works in animation now is going to be a fan of Miyazaki. But,
yeah,
you know, they reference that stuff a lot. But there is so much Mononoke in Season 4 Rebels.
Yeah, there is. And that's my favorite Ghibli movie, I think, is Princess Mononoke. And, the wolves are even in scale with, like, the wolves in Rebels. Like, these massive wolves that are taking them from one planet side to the other, those are the baby ones. Because there's a big-ass doom wolf, which is like Maro in Princess Mononoke, like the massive wolf, like the mother wolf. So that was pretty... And that's the only one that talks. And that's the same in Princess Mononoke, is that only the mother big wolf talks and all the little wolves can't talk. You know? And I say little lightly because they're all still massive. Yeah. But, I don't know. I like the mystical Force stuff. Because for me, this is like hope. It's like, okay, we have a bunch of ancient shit we don't understand and, like, can't explain. And, like, the Jedi Order doesn't exist anymore. And it's like, oh, this is, like, laying the foundation for, like, all of our Force-sensitive people in this universe post-Jedi massacre, to connect with the Force in, like, a more organic, natural way than it was, like, when the Jedi had the Order.
Yeah, that's a big theme of Star Wars, but it's the organic, natural, more spiritual side versus the technological, industrialized...
Well, intuition. Institution is what I'm thinking. Like, the Jedi is like an institution. And so it's like, well, these are the rules that we have about the Force. We've learned all this stuff about the Force. And, like, we're going to teach it like this. And, like, you have to be taken from your families. And you can't have families. And no attachments are allowed.
Yeah.
And I think that's all, like...
At some point, they like, lose touch.
With, like, the natural... Force feelings and like these ancient Jedi and Sith temple stuff, like all of those things are like lost over time.
And you know, like when people are like figuring out these rituals and stuff, they like figure out like, well, because of these reasons we need to do these rituals, and then like over the centuries it just becomes like, well, we do these rituals because we do them.
Yeah. And it's like they forget the reason and I guess like not the brevity. There's like a word I'm looking for, but like the sincerity, like, but I don't know. Yeah, I agree. Like, I think that it like once you have lost the anchor to the why of why you do a tradition, then like your tradition kind of sucks. Like, you're just doing it to do it. You're not doing it with, like, the reverence.
Yeah. And, like, these people who, like, became Jedi, they just become like, well, I was just, like, raised to be a Jedi. Like, I never really thought about it. So, yeah, like, their intentions and values get kind of, skewed, or at least drift from their more pure earlier days.
I also have a theory that because, like, the Jedi Order are taking children from, like, their natural homes and places and bringing them to Coruscant to get trained or whatever, like, that's causing an imbalance in the
so
Force.
maybe when they had, like, when they maintained, like, more temples throughout the galaxy, that would have,
like, they could have been trained closer to their planets and their homes and families and been able to have those attachments but still be raised as, like, a Jedi or a Force-sensitive user. And that over time, that had been, like, bastardized into this, like, you cannot have attachments and everything needs to be on Coruscant.
You know, maybe eventually we should try to pitch our idea of, like, what should the new Jedi Order be? Like, the end of the Skywalker saga, you know, regardless of how much a lot of us don't like how it ended. But when everything's ended and Rey Skywalker sets off with her pea yellow colored lightsaber that I think looks hideous.
Don't diss the yellow color.
But anyways, but no, I like Rey. Like, okay, good for her. She's going to start a new Jedi Order, I guess. Or, like, I don't know. Maybe she won't even call it the Jedi Order. Who knows? It could be anything. But maybe we should pitch, like, our, like, what we think would be, like, the ideal version of that going forward.
Yeah. I'm here for it.
Yeah. Okay. Otherwise, let's move on to Rebels Season 4, Episode 8, Crawler Commandeers. Fun episode title.
I'm glad you said that word first, because I was about to just skip over it with my eyes and say commandos. But yeah, Crawler Commandeers.
Yeah.
After the Lothal rebels have taken shelter in the ancient settlement, they discover a mining guild, or crawler, stripping Lothal's surface for raw materials passing by, and decide to hijack it to establish contact with Hera and the Yavin rebel base with its communicators. However, the crawler's captain shuts down the vehicle and raises the alarm, and as Sabine works to reactivate it, Kanan and Zeb discover a number of slaves in the hole, among them Vizago, who was sold to the guild by the Empire. Working together, the rebels and the former slaves waylay an incoming Imperial patrol investigating the distress call and prevent the captain from destroying the crawler. In the meantime, Hera, unwilling to wait any longer, inspires Rebel Command to conduct an immediate assault on the factory where the TIE Defender is being produced. And after communication is established, Ezra's team agrees to coordinate the impending assault from the planet's surface.
So, Vizago is doing hard time. He's doing, like, prison slave labor in this crawler.
Because he smuggled them on a few episodes ago and he got caught.
Yeah, we were talking about, so that's how they arrived, was through Vizago. And then
he's like, y'all are here to rescue me? I knew y'all would come back for me. And they're
like,
oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, like the other dudes are on there, and he's like, see, I told you my rebel friends would be here to rescue us. And they're just like, oh, yeah, we're here on purpose to rescue you. But those guys fight with the rebellion through the rest of these guys who are there's like a Rhodian and a human guy, but like we see them in like the last episode of the show. Remember, I was like, who the hell is this Rhodian?
Yeah,
and it was like, oh, it was like these prison guys from the crawler Vizago was in. But yeah, they're able to make contact with Hera and coordinate the rebel assault, which is the next episode. Rebel assault, when Hera comes back with some reinforcements. But did you have any other thoughts on Crawler Commandeers?
Not really.
Okay, well, this is there's like a lot of setup for this next episode. I think this was like the mid-season premiere. It was like the start of the second half of the season. Season 4, Episode 9, Rebel Assault. But this is some big shit goes down here. Tell us what happens.
Hera and her assault team arrive at Lothal and begin to battle their way past the Imperial blockade, while the Ghost crew on the ground sabotage the anti-aircraft batteries to allow an unhindered attack on the TIE factory at Lothal's capital. However, with Thrawn coordinating the Imperial defenses, the Rebel attack force is annihilated with only a few survivors, Hera, Chopper, and pilot Mart Matin, managing to reach the surface and regroup safely. As Hera's group attempts to slip out of the city under constant pursuit by Rook, Kanan returns to the capital to look for her, only to be stopped by the Lothal, and he asks it what he should do. Hera opens an escape route, but is captured by Rook before she can use it. Mart and Chopper are then picked up by Kanan and brought to the rebels' hideout as the Lothal watches. Basically, the Lothal says, Kanan, you can't rescue them in the city, but you can go pick them up from the sewer hole. So, get your ass over there. They're gonna need you over there. But yeah, this episode has a pretty good suspense, like with Hera on the run, and there's a couple more survivors that made it, like the rebels pilots made it to the ground, but they ended up getting killed by stormtroopers on the ground.
I think all of those ships you see at the beginning, I think the only pilots and droids that survived that are just Hera, Chopper, and Mart.
Yeah. But remember there was like that one that did survive, but he was captured and tortured?
Right, yeah.
That was pretty depressing. And then we see Mart like about to be tortured and like zapped by some stormtroopers also, but Hera saves him.
Yeah. But they couldn't save his droid.
One thing that irritated me about this episode, like every time they would escape kind of like the stormtroopers zone, there would be a vehicle. And they wouldn't take the vehicle. Like they commandeer one of those like prison shuttle things, and Hera uses it to like smash into some stormtroopers to rescue Mart, but then they don't get back into it and drive away. And I'm like, that's so stupid. Maybe she
broke it.
Maybe, I guess. But then there's like another ship, there's like not a speeder, but like a double-seater seat thing, and she uses it to do something, I don't even remember, and like parks it, gets out, does something else, and leaves it there. And I'm like, why don't y'all just all get into that and leave? Like, they're so obsessed.
I have to go back and look for that now.
They're so obsessed with the sewer. Like, they're like, we have to go in through the sewer. We have to get out of here. Because that's what they did last time, is they went into the sewer and followed the Phoenix marks to where Chopper and Mart ended up getting rescued by Kanan. But,
and I hate sewer stuff in TV and movies.
You're
like,
so sick of it?
Well, I just can't help but think like they're walking around like shut water or next to it.
I always think of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I don't even watch them. Every time they go into the sewer, I'm like, oh, the turtles are going to be down there.
Well, I like the Ninja Turtles, but
so maybe that'll change your opinion.
But it is gross to see like the turtles splash around in sewer water.
Well, that's why I don't watch that show, because it's nasty. They're gross.
No, I'm curious which version of the Ninja Turtles would you like the most? But we don't have to chase that rabbit now. I have some thoughts on Rebel Assault, though.
Okay.
The opening, you see Thrawn and the Imperial blockade, like all those Star Destroyers.
Yep.
It's so intimidating. And then this is I've been waiting for it. I wanted to point it out because I remembered it being like a long build-up to it. But this is the first appearance of the X-Wing in Rebels. We have seen the X-Wing in Andor. Hasn't really done much.
Yep.
But we've seen some parked at Yavin. But here we see like X-Wings in action. And so I love seeing like this like super intimidating shot of an Imperial blockade. And then, boom, these X-Wings show up out of hyperspace. And they're like, we ain't scared of that shit. It's like, I love that determination, that defiance, that rebel spirit. But then they immediately all get shot down.
Well, they actually make it through the blockade, and then they hit the second wave of all the TIE defenders or whatever. And that's what shoots them all down.
Oh, but this is the big moment I was talking about when... this is when Hera takes out Scarus, right? That was in this episode.
Yeah.
Because then she loses her X-Wing after that. But it was kind of that cool Poe Dameron move where he like hits the brakes on the X-Wing and then spins it around.
Yeah, she was very spinny.
Yeah, he does that in, I think it's in the Last Jedi. So my theory on that now, my little...
You think she taught him how to fly?
Like he went to like the General Syndulla flights. I was thinking he just like read about it, like some like manual or something. But no, I like that even like he went to the General Syndulla flight school.
Yeah.
So that'd be cool. Maybe that story is told in like a comic or novel or something. What else about Rebel Assault though? That wolf in the road that like frightens Kata is like It's like, man, like the dude is supposed to be blind, but sometimes it feels like they forget that he's blind.
It's a force wolf. He can feel it with the force. He can do everything because he can feel everything with the force. He just can't see everything exactly, but he has a general idea.
Do you know how fast those speeder bikes go? Like, I think they're I think like when Luke and Leia are like racing around on the forest moon of Endor, they're going like 600 miles an hour.
Oh, well,
like,
that's insane.
Yeah, like these things haul fucking ass.
Well, I don't know who decided that Kanan is allowed to be driving one of these constantly,
yeah,
but he does all the time.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be anywhere on Lothal because I'd be scared a blind Jedi would be driving around and run into me. But I guess he doesn't hit the wolf, which may or may not have even been there. Yeah, it could have just been like a thing in his head. But the wolf is what, like, Kanan, what does he do? He's like racing to rescue Hera, right? And the wolf is like, no, you're not ready. You need to go. Like, this is actually going to be like your last stand. So go get the haircut you want to have when you die. Get ready to say your goodbyes.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because like the wolf is like doom, and he goes, I understand, and it's like if you don't have the captions on, you're not reading it as D-U-M-E. You're reading it as like D-O-O-M.
Yeah,
doom.
but it is telling them both.
Yeah,
it's like you're doomed, but you also be yourself, be doomed.
Yeah, and the other thing I think we've kind of glossed over because it hasn't been coming up in the summaries. But the flirting and love between Hera and Kanan...
They dial it up in season 4.
Yes. And it's adorable, and I love it. But we get a lot more of their attachment.
It's something else I'd want to talk about Filoni about. Because I feel like they're like so coy with what they want to reveal in the show. But like, I mean, they also tell us a lot by like showing that she has a kid after this.
Yeah.
So.
I think that is a little confusing for some of the stuff that happens at the end or in the next episode.
Especially confusing for like a rated TV Y7 Disney show that like you can't like get into the nitty gritty of their relationship of like, hey, like we're only gonna go so far. We're sleeping together, but we don't want to get too attached while we're fighting this war, and we don't want to let our shipmates know, or like they never tell the audience exactly what's going on.
It's my understanding that Hera and Kanan have had like a quote unquote like secret relationship, but not so secret. Like think so. No one is surprised. Like Ezra later is like, "Come on, y'all, stop that!" Like he's like not.
So doesn't the novel that they wrote about them
like they're romantically involved in that?
But do they break up at the end of it and they agree to just be friends?
I don't remember.
Okay.
But
so,
I don't know.
I'll go read that and find out.
Regardless, they've been together. Like they both use like lovey-dovey names.
But yeah, they call each other love and dear.
Yeah, and they're sweet on each other, and like they're constantly supporting each other and talking to each other like mom and dad, like man and wife. And
yeah, they solve problems together.
Yeah, like they're obviously together.
Like I love Superman comics. I do a Superman podcast on Mondays, the Supermaniacs. But like that's a big thing of Superman stories from the last 35 years is like the relationship of Lois and Clark and how like they work. Like I almost think of like Superman as almost like a 2-person character because they're such a team in so many of his stories. But yeah, like Hera and they're like a great example of that in Star Wars.
Yeah, and I think that is what is weird about these couple episodes where they start being like, oh, I need to tell you this, I need to tell you that. Like, I just think it's kind of, I don't want to say it's poor writing, but like, I think that they're like, oh, I think maybe this relationship went over a lot of our audience's heads. Because it was so subtle.
Right.
And
so now they're having to spoon feed it.
Now they're having to like pick up a lot of this like, oh, here, shove this relationship down your face so that you're more sad.
Let's make it constantly
when
obvious.
The next episode happens.
Yeah. No, that's you're probably right, yeah. So but you know, the show sometimes I guess that is like a criticism of it, is that sometimes it does show the limitations of when you are a Disney TV Y7 rated show, but
yeah, I think if they had just, like, had them a little bit more... I think they could have done a better job with the slow build up to this. Because, like, I feel like their relationship is pretty consistent. Season 1, 2, and 3. And then they, in these couple episodes, they really start trying to, like, make it louder. But, yeah, I don't know. And, we don't have to get into it yet. We'll get into it in a later episode. But we'll talk more about Kanan and Hera.
Yeah, let's move on to the final Kanan episode, Jedi Knight. Interestingly spelled Jedi Knight as in, like, night and day, not night with a K.
They said, good night, Kanan.
Yeah. Good night, Jedi. Taylor, tell us what happens in Jedi Knight.
While Hera is being tortured by Governor Price, Ezra, Kanan, and Sabine prepare to rescue her. With Admiral Thrawn absent on Coruscant, they infiltrate the Lothalian Imperial Command Center using gliders they built to look like Lothbats. And as Ezra and Sabine secure a gunship as an escape craft, Kanan recovers Hera's Kalikori, an important family heirloom that was taken by Thrawn earlier in the series, and frees Hera before she, under the effect of a truth serum, can reveal the location of the rebel base. As they attempt to escape on one of the gliders, Kanan instructs Hera to land them inside Lothal's city fuel depot. Just as Ezra and Sabine pick them up, Price orders her troops to open fire on the fuel tanks, causing an explosion. Caught on top of the tank, Kanan uses the Force to control the explosion and push Hera and his friends away from the blast at the cost of his own life. Oh man, this is like one of the most tearful episodes.
Yeah, I've never watched this and not cried.
Every time. It's like bawling tears.
This was spoiled for me, so like before I watched this episode, I just was like, it had come out and I hadn't gotten around to watching it yet, and I got like a YouTube notification that was something like, 5 thoughts about the death of Kanan Jarrus or something like that. And it's like, well, I guess I know what happened on Rebels this week.
Jesus, no.
But like even knowing that, it still like hit me hard.
Because there's so much hope until the last second. Like every time I watch it, I'm like, they're gonna get away, they're gonna get away, and then
he's at peace with it like the whole time.
I know.
Like,
it's
I think
miserable.
like the wolf told him, like he knew.
Yeah.
But he wanted to like inspire them. He is basically like what Luke does in The Last Jedi when he walks out on the battlefield in front of all of the walkers and just like inspire the rebels. It's basically like he knows this is like it's like basically like, what would you do in your final hours, like obviously he's gonna rescue Hera, obviously he's gonna get her family heirloom back. He's also got to be like a good Jedi role model for Ezra and like a good
tell your kids that you're proud of them.
Yeah.
He does that to Sabine and Ezra.
But it's kind of funny to see Hera loopy on she's tortured by the mind probe thing. Robot Chicken did that skit where they call that thing Dr. Ball, and he basically like floats around the Empire and yells at people about medical stuff, very similar to like Dr. McCoy in Star Trek, but it's this floaty Dr. Ball. I don't know. It's kind of a stupid thing, but Robot Chicken for you. But yeah, it's got her like all loopy on like truth serum.
Yeah.
But then she's like serious at the end when she's like, "I love you," and he's like, "Oh, it's the truth serum." She's like, "No, it's for..." But like, you get like the sense that they had never gone that far. No one had said "I love you" yet.
Yeah.
Like they both knew it.
They knew it,
but they
it
had
hadn't
never
been said it. Yeah.
And it might have been, and it's something that she says, like, I thought we would have more time. Like she thought, like after the war.
This is like kind of how Bix and Cassian, not how they broke up, but like, remember she was like, "I'll find you after the war." Like we'll pick this up later.
Yeah.
Like we can't,
because everyone thinks they're gonna have more time. Like maybe that's something that like Obi-Wan thought about like Satine. Maybe he thought like maybe after the Clone Wars I will leave the Order. But I can't do that in the middle of a war. Like maybe Anakin thought that with like Padme. Maybe they could have been better off.
But he's the only one who didn't wait. He was like, "Actually, we're gonna marry in secret."
But I mean, like everyone thinks they would have more time.
Yeah.
I guess except for like the guy who thought like his wife was about to die, and so he helped establish a fascist empire and became Darth Vader. But other than that, everyone thinks they're going to have more time, and including Hera here.
Yeah.
It's super sad. But like with their goodbye, when he first of all, just the fact that he's like able to hold an explosion back with the Force. I don't recall ever seeing that in anything before this, so that's a cool original use of Force powers. That's not too weird. It's not like too, like, I don't know, should wolves talk in Star Wars? So I dig that. And then at the same time, he's Force pushing Hera onto the ship to get her to safety. And so his last thing he sees, because his vision comes back for a moment, and I have thoughts on that too, but he sees Hera, like, screaming in agony.
Yeah.
And, like, because he understands, like, how hard it is for her to, like, watch, like, the man she loves die. But even that, like, he's at peace with it. Like, he's, like, accepted it. And, like, you see, like, that kind of, like, acceptance on his face. But, like, even that, like, I don't know, like, that's sad to me.
No. That's actually what makes me cry more than anything else, is Hera having to watch him die, but also him literally, like, hasn't seen her face in, like, 2 years, and he's always like, oh, I wish I could see you right now, like, whatever. And the only time, like, the last look he gets of her is her literally in the most distress she's ever been, and ever will be, I think. Like, in this, like, we've seen her, like, do so much shit and have so many Imperial issues, and, like, she's so strong. Like, we watched her, like, during Ryloth, and she never broke down like that. Like, during her home, like, whenever she's there with Cham, and, like, the Imperials have taken over her home, and, like, they've killed her friends, they've killed her family. Like,
we've never seen, like, her spirit break.
We don't ever see this kind of emotional outburst from her. Like, because she's very steady, you know? And she has her priority, number one, is, like, the rebellion, So everything else, like, has to come later. Like, she'll deal with it later. Like, she'll emotionally figure that out and see a therapist post-war. But, like, this is, like, I think that is just, that's what breaks my heart about this, is that the last thing Kanan sees is her breaking. And, like, that's just super not fair to him.
Yeah, maybe he wanted to break down like that, too, and he's like, no, like, I gotta
be strong.
I gotta show them the strong Jedi to inspire the rebellion. But, what about this? What if he's calm? Because in that moment, he also sees Jason.
Yeah, I definitely think he knows.
He's like, they're gonna have each other.
Yeah.
And I know this is hard on her, but, like, I know that she's gonna love that boy, and I'm glad that we have that.
Yeah. I hate post.
Hate when a parent dies, but and then, like, the kid has to live without that parent.
I hate that trope. Because, one, it forces that woman to be a single mom or a single dad, depending on the story. But in this case,
it's normally either that or the mom dies in childbirth.
And it's usually single mom, let's be real. Like, for example, Bix and Cassian, same fucking thing. We haven't gotten there yet because we haven't watched the last 3 of Andor. But I have big thoughts. And this is such a similar story. And, like, in terms of, like, the baby. But, like, it upsets me because I don't think... One, it eases Kanan's death knowing, like, he has a baby out there. I hate that. Like, it should still be, I mean, like, not that it eases his death. Like, what's a better way for it? Like, that his legacy continues. Like, I think that's dumb. Like, his legacy was already continuing with Ezra and Sabine and Hera, and Zeb and Chopper.
No, that is true.
And so it's like, we don't need Hera to be pregnant and have Kanan's baby. Like, and I think, again... That shows poor writing to me in this season. Because it's rushing that. You know what I'm saying?
I think here's the reason why I think they did that. Because I think a lot of season 4 of Rebels was designed. Some of this is things that they've said. Some of this is just my theorizing. But hear me out. A lot of season 4 was designed to not only wrap up the story of these characters with this big Lothal arc, but also set up a new spin-off. They were going to do another animated show with this big cast of characters set after Return of the Jedi that would have been going to this other galaxy to find Ezra, but also deal with Thrawn. And in that show, maybe, like, they wanted to have some new Jedi up-and-comers, and Jason Syndulla was created, I think, for that. And then what happened was, when they told Dave Filoni he could make a live-action Ahsoka show, he was like, well, let me just go to this notebook here, and, like, I already have plans for all these people.
Yeah.
Let's just do that as a live-action show. But I think that was the part And maybe what it would have been is instead of Kanan training Ezra, maybe it would have become Ezra training Jason.
Right.
And that I can see that as like a Rebels continuation. They'd be like, okay, yeah, maybe set that up in your finale. But you bring up some good points about like that is unnecessary to show the ongoing legacy of Kanan that was already built into existing characters, Ezra and Sabine. That's a good observation.
But I also want to say that I think it kind of belittles Hera's character and is like, oh, she is important. Like, she already had so much importance with the rebellion, and then it bothers me when it's like, okay, like, this woman now has to raise the offspring of a dead person that, like, okay, I'm not going to do well explaining this. Like, there's something there that bothers me, and it's really hard for me to articulate. But it's like, okay, like, she already had an important role. She already has her own legacy. Kanan already has his own legacy and stuff. And now it's like, okay, we're going to make Hera's character have, like, a harder time, like, being a rebel pilot while making her a mom. Like, she's either, like, she's going to have to choose now between being, like, not necessarily choose, but she's going to have a harder time prioritizing what she really wants to prioritize, which is, like, the rebellion and being a pilot. And now she is going to have to prioritize, like, being a mother. Because you know she's going to be a good mom. Like, there's no question about that. It's just, now there's, like...
Is Mon Mothma a good mom?
No, but that's for different reasons. We've seen Hera in maternal roles, and she is a good mom.
No, yeah, she's definitely mom material.
It just makes me sad for her that she has to do this alone. That's going to be painful for her every day. And the writers chose to do this to her. That's what pisses me off. Is it's like, they didn't have to have this happen. And also, it pisses me off because it's like, oh, y'all were going to, like, force Kanan and Hera together in this one episode. Like, even though we've seen throughout the whole show that they've been together, just, like, not as loudly as you want them to be. And the only reason they made it super loud like that at the end is, like, oh, because now there's a baby involved. Like, it's just kind of weird to me. Like, it feels rushed and unnecessary. Like, no offense to Jason, but I could do without Jason. It's not his fault.
Oh, no, I doesn't...
The other thing... Hold on, I have more thoughts. Okay. The other thing that irritates me about Jason / the Jedi Order / midichlorians is... Okay, we've talked about, like, we don't really want Jedi who are, like, in lineage connected to other characters in Star Wars. It's like, oh, if Obi-Wan had a baby, that baby would be super force sensitive, whatever. I have so many thoughts on this. So, like, one, with the Jedi Order, they're taking all these babies, and then they're like, oh, y'all can't form attachments and have babies, y'all are basically all monks and nuns now. So, like, they're not passing down the midichlorian gene through reproduction, right? So
maybe
that means...
that's why, though. Maybe that's why they do the celibacy, so that they don't... So that they don't overpopulate with a lot of...
Is that contributing to the imbalance of the Force by not letting them reproduce if those genes are even genetic? And does that mean that... Sorry, this is like what I'm thinking about whenever they're like, and Jason Syndulla is gonna be a Jedi. And I'm like, oh my god, like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of.
I can answer some of these questions, though.
Okay, well, I'm not done. Let me bitch one more thing.
Okay. Well,
but I can't remember what it is now. But that was my main one, is just like, okay, well, the Jedi Order is, like, not allowing all of these things, all of these Jedi to have these, like, how is that... I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, so, like, then that means that the midichlorians just, like, enter people's bodies, like, in embryos, and they're just, like, born randomly.
Okay. So the midichlorians just show up in people that are strong with the Force as, like, when you communicate the living Force that's in all living beings connecting to the cosmic Force, which is, like, the greater Force of the universe. Like, the midichlorians are like that's like the communication. That's like the connective tissue. That's like what gives you the Wi-Fi to reach out and connect to the Force.
Okay.
So the midichlorians are just kind of there as like a side effect of someone being strong in the Force. These midichlorians will show up in them as they connect to the Force, okay? Mm-hmm. So that's all a midichlorian is. Now, we know from Return of the Jedi when Luke tells Leia, when he explains to her that we're twin brother and sister, he says that the Force runs strong in my family. My brother has it, I have it, and my sister has
My
it.
father has it.
Yeah, and then as, she realizes that she can feel it. She's like, oh yeah, like the Force. Yeah, I get it. So the way I always took that is it is. I guess it is genetic, but because I guess genes are a thing in science, they have cloning and stuff. But I just kind of think of it as they're just kind of inclined towards that. It's kind of in some people's families, they're more musically inclined, and it's their parents are these musicians, and it makes it a lot easier for their kids to learn this stuff and get good at it. But anyone in the world, if they trained hard enough, can become a musician.
Yeah.
I just kind of think of the Force like that. What I don't like is when it's you have to be related to the Skywalker family, or it has to all be about Anakin Skywalker and Luke Skywalker. It's just the fact that it's called the Skywalker Saga, I think, was a mistake. I know that kind of came from George Lucas when he spent a lot of years saying well, what it really is this kind of a soap opera about this one family. But I think that was just him kind of how do I promote my prequels and make it sound like these are just as crucial and as important to the story as the original trilogy. So I don't mind there being if you are a strong Force user, then your kids are likely to become strong Force users. That's kind of being speaking of Avatar again, the benders, the different the air benders, water benders, all that. And how but sometimes they can have kids who aren't strong in it.
Right.
Which they don't really talk about the science of genes and Avatar, but I guess it is just but it's kind of a very old school human knowledge thing about bloodlines and things.
They talk about it more in Korra, because Bolin has an earthbender mom and then firebender dad, and then he can bend lava.
Right, and it becomes more of an international world, and there's more people mixing together.
Yeah.
But I guess I say all this stuff just to say with Star Wars that you bring up a great point that if all of your Force users are becoming celibate Jedi, then who's passing on these genes?
If it's genetic.
But I'm also thinking that might have been part of kind of Jedi Order control, because because they were we can't have too many people in the galaxy strong in the Force.
Okay.
So.
But see, this is when I get to the dark side of the Jedi Order, because in my mind, that, to me, means that the Jedi Order has some kind of secret, incubation situation going on. Yes. And they're we have all of these embryo things, and we need sperm donors. They need Jedi little babies or something.
I don't think there is a secret Jedi breeding program.
That crosses my mind often when I think about them removing these Jedi from the gene pool.
There's the potential for a story there, but I would like it to be it was this Section 31 Jedi. There's within the Jedi Order, there's this secret group that uses the dark side to do the will of the Jedi, but they don't want anyone to know about it because it would destroy it. I think that would actually be really cool, and maybe they would do some fucked up shit like that. I think that would be cool potential for a story.
I'm just saying, there's some wacky shit with the Jedi Order, and I think in a way that contributes to the decrease in Force sensitive people out there, by removing them from the gene pool. If we're saying that it is passed down in a family.
Maybe a lot of this, I think the story can still be told with whatever new Star Wars Disney is going to inevitably keep pumping out in their quest to make more and more money. But maybe it'll be revealed that, hey, the Jedi being against having families and kids and stuff, that was a mistake. And actually in this new whatever era of Jedi, they're, because Kanan is attached to people. Kanan has these attachments, and you see when those attachments come from a compassionate place, they're more of a strength than kind of the weakness that the Jedi Order made it out to be.
But imagine this. Imagine Kanan doesn't die, and him and Hera get to raise Jason together. And Kanan gets to teach Jason for his whole life how to become force sensitive and use that sensibility forever, instead of being picked up by like a Jedi Knight at like 6 years old randomly because they saw you accidentally using the Force somewhere in an inconvenient location.
It sounds healthier.
It is seems healthier, and also it'd be fine if Kanan and Hera's baby ends up not being Force sensitive because they can still raise that baby. But also think of this: Kanan and Ezra have a Force sensitive baby, and guess what? Ezra and Sabine and Ahsoka get to be cool ass Jedi / warriors, semi-Jedi, not Jedi, whatever. But Force sensitive, like aunts and uncles that get to raise on this kid, you know? Because that's, like, I think part of the Jedi Order is they're like, oh, well, we don't want there to be, like, the Sith thing where it's just two, like a master and apprentice all the time. But, like, if you think about, like, well, Kanan's already trained other people, and then those people have trained other people, and then Ahsoka's come back, and, like, I don't know. It just seems like way healthier to be like, oh, we just have like a giant family, and we ship off our kid for a 6-week like Force sensitive seminar with Aunt Ahsoka every year.
I think it all comes down to the Jedi desire of like banning attachment.
Yeah.
You can't have a family.
Which comes from control. They want to be able to control the Jedi to send them where they need to go without them having
that's also
an
part of their like mission statement of like that's part of like their code is to be like totally selfless. So like they
it's a lot for me to digest. But sorry, everything that we kind of like tangented off of, I think about every time I see this episode and the very final episode of Rebels, because I'm just like, this bothers me.
Okay.
But is there anything else you have on a Jedi Knight? We can come back.
No, I have a lot. Like
okay, sorry, we've only brushed.
All we talked about was Kanan.
Sorry, I was angry.
But I was also gonna point like his rescue of Hera is really cool though. Like he's very like swashbuckling.
So suave.
But I love the gag about him stealing the Kiki Kori, whatever it's called.
Calicori.
The Calicori, the Twi'lek heirloom.
Yeah, he's like, I got a present for you.
And it was like, this is already mine. Like, it can't be a gift of something I already have. But it's just like, he's like still like so himself in his final moments.
Yeah, those are really funny.
But Thrawn and his taste for acquiring artwork, like it's very imperial. It's very like colonial. Mm-hmm. It's super colonial. Him wanting to take this Twi'lek artwork that doesn't belong to him. Tarkin playing politics with Thrawn when so I love this, by the way. This is really cool. If you pay attention to the Tarkin scene when he has this holo call with Thrawn, he's telling Tarkin about, like, oh yeah, your TIE Defender program, you know, it's going to cost a lot of money, and this other thing, Project Stardust, is also costing a lot of money, and that project seems to be, I'll be honest with you, it's just like a lot of headaches, and we have no idea what Krennic is doing over there. It's a bit of a shit show, so maybe there's a future for your TIE Defender program, but you might want to talk to the Emperor about it. And then Thrawn's like, oh yeah, I'll argue my case to the Emperor himself or something. Mm-hmm. And so, like, you see what Tarkin is doing there? Like, Tarkin got Thrawn to be the one to go, like, talk to the Emperor about, like, this Project Stardust thing doesn't look very good. Maybe you want to, like...
Yeah. He's recruiting haters.
Yeah, because eventually what Tarkin really wants to do is just take over Stardust from Krennic.
Yeah. I love the consistency of Tarkin's, like, political career, like, manipulation. Like, he is constantly bitching about Krennic. Like, we've seen that, like, at least 5 times now. Of, like, where he, like, side-eyes Krennic, or something like Krennic says something like, well, Tarkin doesn't blah, 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 blah. Like, there's always beef there.
Oh, it's going to come to a head someday for us.
And that's what made me think of, like, in that conversation when he's like, Stardust. And he's like, I want to take that from Krennic. I was like,
also, I think this is, like, a contingency plan for Tarkin, because in case, like, Stardust doesn't work out. He wants to take over the TIE defenders from Thrawn.
Yeah.
So he's trying to kind of like incubate that
He's
as like a fallback.
He's like a Project Vulture.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna pick over
He totally
whatever.
is.
Yeah.
But these Imperials, kind of like being out over their skis because they're trying to move up in the Imperial ladder, and they're so like focused on their own careers, that does become a problem for them later on in the season, where the rebels continue to win here because they're working together, and I just love that story of collectivism.
Yeah.
But I guess that's all my notes on Jedi Knight. We can move over to the next episode, the follow-up.
Doom.
Season 4, Episode 11, yeah, Doom.
With the destruction of the Imperial Fuel Depot and the resulting shutdown of the TIE Defender project, Governor Price decides to cover up her blunder by throwing a victory parade, but Thrawn is not deceived. While Sabine and Zeb depart for Lothal City to spoil that party, Ezra sinks into despair until he is challenged by the Loth Wolves and led towards a gigantic Loth Wolf called Doom, who confronts him with his fears and tells him to return to the Lothal Jedi Temple. Meanwhile, after noticing that the Imperial TIE factory has been shut down, Sabine and Zeb encounter and engage in combat with Rook. After beating him unconscious, they send him, covered in Sabine's graffiti, back to Lothal City to show that the rebels are still willing to fight. Hera overcomes her own grief by adding a token for Kanan to her Kalikori, and by being told by Sabine and Zeb of how Kanan essentially fulfilled their goal of stopping the TIE Defender project. Ezra then informs his friends of their important mission to go to the Jedi Temple and recover its precious knowledge from the hands of the Imperials. I feel like this heavily implies that Kanan is now a wolf. Like
He was reincarnated.
He's like now the big ass wolf on the fall. Because first of all, it's kind of a dream. It's not real. Like Ezra is chased by the wolves into the Lothal pasture wilderness, whatever, and he's like leaned up against one of those little mountain hill things. And in his dream, that little mountain thing becomes the wolf and talks to him as Doom. And he's very limited vocabulary, trying to spit out, like, you need to go to the Jedi Temple. But, like, his first things are, he says Doom. And then Ezra says, that was my master's name. So I feel like that's kind of a confirmation.
Well, I think, though, the show also says, or it also implies that Kanan's, I don't know, like, his spirit, he's not like a blue glowy, but like his Force ghost is kind of like hanging around Lothal for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like when Hera feels him like put his hand on her shoulder, and then like later there's that moment when Hera and Ezra are like Hera knows there's some Jedi-ness going on, and she says to Ezra, or she asks him, I should say, like, he's gone for real now, right? And Ezra's like, yeah, like he's all the way gone.
Yeah.
Something like that. So, but yeah, maybe part of that, manifested in this wolf. These wolves are connected to the Force, so maybe if someone is in the process of passing on into rejoining the cosmic force, then maybe they can they can speak through these wolves as they're like on their way out the door,
Yeah.
Yeah, there is meant to be some type of connection there. This has the funny scene with Zeb and Rook and Sabine when they're looking at them through the binoculars.
Oh, yeah.
And it's scary. It's
is.
a scary thing when like a character, you see this in a lot of movies.
He's
and stuff,
locked in.
Like they're looking through a scope, and then whatever they're looking at just like turns and notices them, and it's frightening to see that close up of that face on your TV. But then when he starts walking towards them, and Zeb is too scared to look again.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
That's another reason I think that Rook is like a natural predator of the Lasat. Because Zeb is never scared. He's like, I don't want to look at him again.
Now, when they do fight Rook, and it's really cool, he does like a predator thing and turns invisible, but they use like Sabine's paint to make him
like have the outline
again.
of him, yeah.
And then when they beat him up, like, Zeb just starts going crazy, just, like, punching him in the head. And he's basically like, I'm just going to punch this guy to death. And then you point out, like, it's really lame when Sabine is like, no, Zeb, don't do it.
Okay, this is my beef with this. in this scene where it's like, well, Rook sucks, like, obviously, and they kill so many stormtroopers.
Yeah.
They literally blow up ships. But when it's Gar Saxon that she just beat in battle, or it's Rook that they just beat in battle, like, they aren't allowed to kill them then? Is it because they're no longer defending themselves?
Well, it's almost kind of like a Count Dooku thing of like not killing an unarmed prisoner.
Maybe
if
it's
you
more
can
of
capture
that.
them. But I feel like in this situation, it's like, yeah, like this guy Rook, like Thrawn is using him to stop us, and he's like one of the biggest threats on the field right now. Like, maybe like Zeb, you don't have to like punch him in the face to kill him. Like, let me just put a blaster bolt between his eyes and let's get this over with. Like, I think that would have been the responsible freedom fighter tactic to do in a war.
Yeah.
And also, I think that's something that if you're a trained Mandalorian should also seem like kind of a natural, normal thing to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is weird that they're just... But maybe she did want to just, like, send a message back to the Empire. Like, look at the sky covered in paint.
Okay, but they could have done that to a corpse also.
Yeah, that also sends a hell of a message. That's just fucked up, though. You're, like, really trolling them then, but... yeah.
Here's your assassin.
I mean, we're laughing at it, so clearly, like... I mean,
sorry.
We call it an anti-fascist Star Wars podcast for a reason. We'll laugh at some dead Imperials. But anything else on Doom? I guess Kanan gets his little addition to the family heirloom.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. The Calicori is so important to her.
Oh, does that show up again in Ahsoka? It'd be cool if we see that on the Ghost and it has like another little addition for Jason. Like hanging from the Kanan one.
I don't know for sure, but this also is in the previous episode. Thrawn reveals that Hera had a brother at one point that I had brought up before. It's so subtle and it's like one line, like
he learned it from looking at the art piece,
right? But yeah, they don't ever really expand on that. I thought they expanded on that more, but he literally
it might be in that book.
Maybe it is
The New Dawn or whatever.
I haven't read that in so many years, so I'm rusty on that. Any other thoughts on Doom?
No, I kind of already mentioned it, but like Hera grieving Kanan, I guess like Chopper comforting her.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, that was sad.
Yeah.
They were Spectre 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah. Yeah, they were the first three, It was like the first time the Ghost crew wasn't all three of them.
Yeah.
Because like they were like a package deal when they came into Kanan's life. Like Chopper came with Hera. That was her childhood pet.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to Wolves at the Door, Season 4, Episode 12. Tell us what happens, Taylor.
With the aid of the Lothwolves, Ezra, Hera, Sabine, Zeb, and Chopper head for the Jedi Temple, which they find being occupied by a mining guild excavation team led by Imperial Minister Hayden, who is very close to penetrating the temple's secrets. By interpreting an unearthed mural depicting the Mortis gods, father, son, and daughter, Ezra uses the Force to bring the images to life which show him the location of the door. However, despite their disguises as Imperial scouts, their presence is found out and the alarm is raised. Ezra escapes through the door into the temple just before he can be captured. Oh, this one I have a personal liking to because I really like the art history stuff and Sabine getting to lean into that art history critique lesson or whatever with the Minister Hayden. Even though he sucks ass, like, he also is smart. Like, but I like that she's constantly like, well, I'm smarter than you. But I like them a lot more than dissecting.
I used to get kind of weirded out by all this like weird Force stuff, but because we just recently watched like the Mortis stuff in Clone Wars, and that stuff it is like so mysterious, and I feel like the longer I go without watching it, the more vague it kind of becomes in my memory. But now that like it's like kind of fresh, like this stuff, like I feel like I'm not missing anything. Like I feel like I get everything, and I like this stuff a lot more than I think I used to. But I also appreciate how much you point out the the good art conversations.
I think that the mural is really pretty, and I I love how it moves, like, with the Force. It reminds me of the animation in The Prince of Egypt when, like, the hieroglyphics move to tell the story of the Pharaoh ordering the deaths of the Jewish babies. Or what are they? They're Moses' I don't remember the history of it. But that, like, way that the wall moves is very similar to how, like, the wall moves in this animation. And I think it looks so cool. And I love the glowy goldness of it. And, like how the brother is got the red glow and the daughter's got, like, the gold glow. Like, they're all a little different color coded.
We hear their voices. We hear them say things from, I think, those Clone Wars episodes.
But I think it's important to bring these three back in because in the next episode, we get Ahsoka back. And I think that's really important to, like, bring up the father, son, and daughter again since technically Ahsoka is kind of the daughter now.
The Emperor calls them the Mortis gods. This is the first time anyone has ever said gods in reference to them.
I like that Sabine calls them archetypes. I think that's more accurate than gods.
So you think they were like these creations of the universe early on that became the archetypes of the Force? Like they're like the three archetypes of the Force is like the light side, balance, and dark side.
Right. So I think that's
that is kind of what gods are in human mythology. Like Zeus, the god of lightning, he's like the embodiment of lightning, you know?
Right.
Like Poseidon is the god of the ocean. Like he embodies like the mass and power and scale of the ocean.
Yeah, I agree.
Archetype, yeah.
I like her use of that word, though, a lot more than the Mortis gods.
She's the more academic, and he's even though he's like the minister, he's like this weird monk, you know.
But he's not just like exactly. Like he's not just like an art history architect or not architect, archaeologist or anything like that. Like he's a Jedi obsessed. Like he's a Jedi historian.
Yeah, the Minister of Antiquity. I think the Ministry of Antiquity is like a thing in the Empire. It's like part of the government.
Yeah.
So he's like part of Palpatine's cabinet.
Yeah.
But he originally was going to be a character from Rogue One. He originally was going to be the attendant that like takes care of Vader in the Bacta tank in Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
There's like this dude running around in like a black robe who's like Vader's little, I don't know, like his Alfred, his like butler, I guess.
His handler.
Yeah. He just like takes care of Vader's castle, I guess.
So that would be what, the Minister of Vader?
Probably. I don't know what his title is. Yeah, attendant.
Yeah.
He's Vader's attendant.
But yeah, interesting.
But this guy is. I just went and browsed his Wikipedia page earlier today, and he's a Sith obsessed, Jedi obsessed.
Yeah.
He's almost kind of like a dark side Lothal. He's like an art collector, historian type.
Yeah, he found the perfect job, which is very cool for him.
Yeah, but he's nerding out about I can unlock these Force mysteries for the Emperor, and it's also my job. It's fun to see that extraction team and like the blue collar mining guild guys who they've shown them be assholes again and again throughout the show. So it's kind of funny seeing like that Trandoshan guy in the hard hat like talking to the minister.
Yeah, that is really funny.
Yeah, just like this like blue collar worker guy talking to this evil monk. Star Wars is funny sometimes.
Yeah.
The part that made us laugh so hard.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
You say it.
Whenever the wolves leave the mural and become the portal door, and Ezra like walks through, and they're like stormtroopers are chasing after him, and like they like take a second to look at each other, like we can walk through that portal. We got this.
Crazy feat of Ezra like walk through rock, basically go through this portal.
I love their confidence, but they run full force into the rock.
We got this.
Bonk.
Smack.
Falling on their back.
You laughed so hard.
It was so funny because they weren't sure. They were like, "This is fucking weird," and then they like looked at each other like, "Well, I guess this is just like a weird day at work."
Yeah, and it's like, no, y'all ain't.
It was really funny. I love though. Like, I love the temple as a character so much, too. Like, in the previous times we visited the temple, like, we do different doors, and they learn different lessons. And I like in this, it's like, the temple is like, I'm only gonna allow this one guy in, you know? Like, it's so...
The Empire trying to, they want to take everything. Like, nothing is sacred to them. They're just gonna grab whatever they want. They'll, like, dig this temple up stone by stone and transport it to learn the secrets of Lothal.
Yeah. But I really enjoyed this episode. I think it's a fun use of bringing the Mortis back and then incorporating the Loth Wolves. And I love Jedi Temple stuff so much. Because I think, like, that's where I am most curious of, like, all this lost knowledge. Like, there's so many secrets to the Force and, like, life and the universe and whatever that has been lost to time and war. So it's cool to, like, see the temple open up and, like, literally yeet Ezra into, like, space bridges. Like, it's interesting.
Yeah. So the big exploration of that stuff takes place in Season 4, Episode 13, A World Between Worlds. Tell us about that, Taylor.
Sabine ends up being questioned by Hayden and asked by him to interpret the pictograms he has found within the Jedi Temple, thereby learning that Darth Sidious intends to breach the barriers between life and death as a final stepping stone to control the Force within the entire universe. Just after she has deciphered how to close the portal, Sabine is extracted by Hera and Zeb. In the meantime, Ezra wanders within the world between worlds, a void between space and time, until he is led by Morai to another portal, which opens Ahsoka's final battle against Darth Vader. Just before her imminent demise, Ezra pulls her through the portal into the void, saving her. Thinking that he has a chance to save Kanan as well, he considers an attempt, but is dissuaded by Ahsoka, who tells him realizing that if he had pulled Kanan out, he and the others would have perished instead. But with the opening of the Lothal door, Sidious is finally able to reach into the void and attack them. Ezra and Ahsoka separate and escape through the portals through which they have come. With Sabine's hint, Ezra is able to seal the portal to the void, which also triggers the full collapse of the temple. After a narrow escape, Hera returns to the temple, which has completely vanished. With what he has learned in the void, Ezra is finally able to overcome his grief over Kanan's death. Alright. Timey-wimey, spacey-wacy.
Yeah, so, again, this stuff used to really freak me out, but now that, like, I kind of know the deal going in, and I'm really paying attention, and I've been keeping up with all the other shows, so I feel like I'm not missing anything. The world between worlds, so it's this cosmic-y space where you walk around on, like, a magical bridge-looking thing, like this glowy bridge in space. So there's gravity, because you can walk. There's oxygen or air, so you can breathe. Because, like, their physical bodies can go there and then be transported somewhere else. Yeah. But I don't know, they also play, like, a lot of dialogue from different Star Wars shows and movies. Really cool how they blend a lot of this stuff together, but they have Yoda from The Empire Strikes Back saying, luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. So maybe, like, all matter can be transformed into this energy that can exist in this force plane, and then it can be re-entered back into the physical universe at a different point. Is that what I'm supposed to take away from this?
Maybe for the visual audience, they're giving us physical bodies, but
right.
In actuality, they're just force space dots.
Right.
Like Qui-Gon Jinn and Yoda have been.
Right, or like this is how they perceive it. Right. It's almost kind of like in Deep Space Nine, like, you know, when Sisko goes and talks to the wormhole aliens. Mm-hmm. It's like, you know, it seems like he's like walking around in a room, but like, you know, he's back on the runabout. Yeah. Probably.
It's probably also kind of something about their imagination. Like, how can they understand what this is in a physical manifestation?
But like, it looks like the same to Ezra and Ahsoka, we think. Like,
well, I think we're seeing it mainly from Ezra's perspective. But we do see Ahsoka visit this eventually, and it is the same. So, maybe it is. I don't know. But I don't know, that part doesn't super bother me as much. I'm super also in the feeling that maybe Ezra's body is in the temple and he's like astral projecting into this area. But then it's the complication of, if you pulled Ahsoka's physical body into this astral plane, how does that work? But I do think it's interesting that they both go back through the portals they came in, and Ahsoka doesn't return to Lothal with Ezra. Like, she has to figure... She goes back to the Sith temple. And which, also a fun note, I liked that the Sith temple door was in the shape of the Sith holocron. It was like a triangle.
Like a pyramid, yeah.
Yeah, with like the different... Like, the ends were all disjointed, like whenever the holocron is open, and like the corners are all spinning around. That was really neat. But I know you have a lot to say, so what's up?
Well, it does explain that shot at the end of Twilight of the Apprentice when you see Ahsoka walking up the stairs.
Yeah.
So when Ezra saved Ahsoka from Vader and then sent her back to I guess Malachor. Was she back in Malachor at the end of season 2, or is she back at Malachor in real time?
That is a question I had for you, actually. I thought it was a lot of time. I think this is a timey-wimey thing. Who knows how long she was in the space-time bridge, whatever. The world between worlds. Because, like, Ezra's just there for a few minutes. But it is likely, because when she goes back to the Sith temple, it seems like she's not attacked by Vader again, so maybe he's left. So it could have been 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think he like pulled her like 2 years in the future, but she's like still at like the same place.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Like, he brought her to his time.
Yeah,
but then
because it was also daytime then, whereas like when they fought, it was at night. So
yeah, so or it could have been early morning when she returns and Darth Vader's already left the planet. But that is a great question. But he says like,
come find me, come get me, and she's like, yeah, I'm on my way, I'll be right there.
But she doesn't have a way off of Malachor.
So you think she's just like, wait? I think it's just that she got off of Malachor like the same day that Ezra gets zapped away. Like this is all like the same day, or like I don't know, maybe it's like the day before that. But like this is all like, I think she got pulled out into like real time, like where they were in season 4.
Gotcha.
I feel like that raises fewer questions. Yeah, it's just kind of weird to me that Star Wars is making me ask these questions. Like, it's not really...
You're like, this isn't Star Trek.
I mean, yeah, this isn't like the Force I grew up with. It's one thing to add like these Force abilities like, in The Force Awakens when Kylo Ren stops a blaster bolt, like physically stops this energy bolt. No one had ever done that before, but like, it was kind of cool. Like, I was okay with that. Or, say, like, when Grogu does Force healing in The Mandalorian. It was, like, kind of the first time they showed Force healing like that. But I was like, okay, like, those powers, they don't really confuse me as much as, like, okay, the world between worlds. That seems like a radically different than, like, the Force I'm used to.
But, okay, hear me out. I feel like this is the Force manifesting in different ways for different strengths and different Force-sensitive people. Like, Ezra's last name is Bridger.
Yeah.
Like, he is a bridge between worlds.
Between galaxies, apparently, yeah.
Like, it doesn't surprise me that he's the one that discovers the Force bridges. Like, And... like,
okay, so I had just never seen the Jedi who were like attuned to this type of stuff.
Yeah, I think
I kind of like that. That's a good explanation.
I think it's like, oh, well, and you gotta remember too that like Ben Kenobi and Grogu were both raised as Jedi.
Yeah.
And Ezra
wasn't. Know, like the standard Jedi
Ezra
training.
has the natural force pool of Lothal for the first 14 years of his life. Remember when we first see Ezra and he's trying to make that big jump and he closes his eyes and meditates before he makes this big jump? Like, he's already using the force. He doesn't realize that he's doing it. But he's like...
we assume he was conceived on this planet. He spent like his whole existence here. Yeah, he is of Lothal.
And that's like a huge, like that Jedi temple pulls to him, And I think that goes back to if you rip the Force sensitive children away from their home or
Yeah.
what they're naturally called to, and you push them into this institution of the order, they lose a lot of their natural force talents.
Like, maybe there were more of these, like, special planets like Lothal that had, like, these strong connections to the Force. And they needed, like, they needed to be Jedi or, like, someone, like, on Lothal, like, maintaining that connection. Yeah.
Right. And, like, I think...
Maybe that's, like, why he was born so strong, too, is, like, the Force trying to correct itself. Like,
Yeah. And I think it's cool to see... Because, honestly, like, Ezra bothers me a lot in, like, the end of the beginning. But see, and this is annoying because, like, Kanan's training, like, him as a Jedi, but he's not limiting him like the Jedi Order limited their people. Like, he's still encouraging Ezra to, like, go do a bunch of stuff and be who he is and not, like, you know, make friends with Zeb and with Hondo and, like, you know what I mean? Like, Ezra's encouraged to chase the things that interest him.
Yeah, he's like Jedi Light training.
Yeah. And so I think, I don't know, like, this is what I think, like, the hope for the Jedi could be, is it's like, oh, well, like, lean into your natural force sensitivities and see where it takes you, but also have some people to guide you through the difficult shit that have been through it before and are, like, experts on the Force. But, like, Ezra's constant need to return to Lothal is because that's where his force sensitivity comes from. Like, that's his home, and, like, where, like, that Jedi temple is, where these Lothwolves are that are all calling him, you know? Like, he has that sense of pull, like, that urgency to his people and his planet. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, totally. When they are in the world between worlds and the Emperor shows up, is that, like, we were theorizing that he hacked his way into the world between worlds?
See, this one is weird. This one's hard for me to understand, too, because if they're trying to hack the Lothal portal, it closed.
I think he's just, like, in his basement playing with that cauldron, and, like, he hacks in.
Or...
Like, remember, like, when him and Dooku were trying to get into Yoda's head? Doing that stuff?
Yeah.
I think he's just doing that to get into the world between worlds.
But do you think he's using the stones, like, the part of the Jedi Temple that they stole from Lothal onto that Star Destroyer? Or do you think he's accessing it through that?
Mean, maybe he can, like, feel it. Like,
he has done weird Force hologram stuff, too, so...
Yeah, I mean...
I don't know. I don't know where he is.
But it's like when he's on Coruscant in Revenge of the Sith, and he can feel Annie burning on the side of the volcano on Mustafar, and he's like... He looks at his clone troopers and he's like, something's very wrong. I can feel Darth Vader is in trouble. I think it's like, I think he can maybe, like, after he's been made aware of, like, these statues in this temple, I think maybe he can feel it from across the galaxy. He's just, like, that strong, you know?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how he gets access, but he does somehow.
But he needs Ezra to, like, get in for real.
This is, like, the Poe Dameron phrase, and somehow Palpatine returned.
But I mean, it doesn't really seem that mysterious to me. I think he could just be playing with his cauldron in his basement, and he's trying to, like, hack into the world between worlds. Like, he can't, like, he can't log in. Like, he can't get authentication.
He doesn't have pseudo permissions.
Yeah, but like Ezra has no problem getting, like, authenticate. Like, he can, like, sign in, and then, like, he's, like, easy breezy. He can sign in from, like, any portal. So Palpatine needs Ezra to learn those secrets. But now that we've seen, you know, the rise of Skywalker and all of his, you know, cloning program and all of that, and my mixed feelings on that aside, this plays really well into that storyline of, like, Palpatine's quest for immortality. Like, of course he would want to have access to the world between worlds, and maybe even, like, I guess time travel, which is a weird as hell thing to say for Star Wars, but I guess that's there. But also, Palpatine loves to see the future. And that's, like, a big theory of, like, why he might have abducted so many Force children over the years is that, like, he also has something he can do with them to kind of help feed his ability to see the future. And that's one of the big things, he's talking about in Return of the Jedi, is how he's, like, foreseen all these things. And kind of like one of the first things we learn about the Emperor is he's very prescient. So, the world between worlds, obviously you can just literally, like, look at the future. Like, we hear a lot of things that come from movies that take place after this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you hear, like, Carrie Fisher from the original trilogy. You hear Daisy Ridley from The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
So. But it's crazy to hear Palpatine scream that when he's, like, shooting blue lightning at Ezra and Ahsoka, and I don't know. I was like, Ahsoka, I used to know that guy when he, like, looked normal and was just like the Chancellor. But
is this the first time we get the name for her owl, Morai?
Yes. But they're like calling it out. Like, if you're watching all this stuff, like, you definitely have noticed it by now.
Yeah,
but.
We all have known about the owl, but in this arc, we hear Sabine and Ezra mention, like, oh yeah, she always has that owl, like, following her around.
So.
And they mention that when they're looking at the Mortis mural. They're like, oh, the daughter has the same owl as Ahsoka.
Yeah. And so the daughter who also died to save Ahsoka's life in the Mortis arc.
Right.
So we think the daughter is connected to Ahsoka permanently after that. And maybe, like, not like a reincarnation of her, but maybe like an echo of her. Like, after her death, like, there's, like, this, like, remnant of her that remains as this animal that is, like, connected to, it's like her familiar.
I always took about it as, like, her, like, the daughter's being, like, her soul, like, intertwined with Ahsoka's, and, like, they kind of, like, merged and became one.
Yeah.
And Morai, the daughter's pet, recognized that change and bonded to Ahsoka and was like, well, I'm going to follow Ahsoka around forever because she holds my master.
And we pointed out how it seems to have bonded with Sabine as well, and how, like, Sabine either has it on her mind all the time, or she was seeing one all the time at Chopper Base.
But I think, like, that's what Morai can do while Ahsoka is trapped, because, like, technically Morai wasn't there on Malachor, right? Like, that owl creature started following Ezra and Sabine.
Worlds.
Yeah, it re-synced with them all there. But we've seen it, like, on Adelon and on Lothal.
So does it go in and out of the world between worlds? Is that how it's, like, always getting around?
I think so. I think that is a Force-sensitive little bird.
Okay. They can fly in and out of these world between world portals.
Honorable mention in the Mortis archetypes.
Okay. Interesting. We know we're definitely going to get more on some of this stuff because they're making another season of the Ahsoka show.
Hell
yeah. So, it's going to be fun seeing all this stuff unfold. I was, a little lost watching Ahsoka the first time, so I'm going to be very
You're going to be
braced.
really prepared this time.
Yeah. Is that all I have for A World Between Worlds? I guess we lose the temple at the end of this episode.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
vanished.
It was just gone. I thought originally that it had sank into the ground, like, just, like, collapsed.
But it looks like it was just, like...
never there.
Yeah.
And
just, like...
I guess that could just be timey-wimey. I don't know. I think it was, like, sick of being pestered with.
Yeah, maybe it's, like, out of phase with the rest of the universe.
Yeah, I think that's more likely.
Return.
I think that's more accurate.
Yeah.
But, like, this poor temple, like I was saying, is, like, these temples are, like, characters of themselves. But, like, if you think about, like, that temple has been plundered by the Empire for, like, a year now. Part of the temple has been relocated to Thrawn's starship. And, like, parts and pieces of it have been, like, destroyed with them trying to break into the temple. So, like, I think the temple was like, alright, this is my final straw. Like, I'm done.
What if they made a Star Wars movie where there's, like, some portal on modern-day Earth, and someone uses that, and they go into the world between worlds, and they can travel throughout time and space, and they go a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and they're in the Star Wars universe. And Disney uses that to make a Star Wars Marvel crossover.
Well, I hope they never hear that. I hope they never hear that theory.
That's why I get freaked out by some of this like weird ass Force stuff sometimes. It's like I'm not quite sure if that's for Star Wars, but
you've been traumatized by comic crossovers.
I guess. Okay. Moving on, let's talk about season 4, episode 14, A Fool's Hope.
Hera, Rex, and Callus recruit Hondo, Gregor, Wolf, and Ketsu for a plan to liberate Lothal, which they agree to out of respect for Ezra. Back on Lothal, Ezra receives a vision that Thrawn is returning from Coruscant, meaning that they must enact their plan to seize the capital right away. At the capital, Price is secretly contacted by Ryder, who offers to betray the rebels to her in return for his own safety. Price and Rook lead an assault force on the rebel base, while Hera attempts to return with reinforcements but must first slip past the Imperial blockade. The Imperials quickly gain the upper hand and capture the rebels, but Ryder reveals that his betrayal was merely a ruse to lure Price out of the capital. Hera then arrives with the Ghost and her reinforcements, while Ezra summons the Lothwolves to aid in the battle. The Imperials are swiftly defeated and Price is captured, but Ezra reminds everybody that the battle to liberate Lothal is just beginning.
Oh, I forgot how good this stuff is.
Yeah.
I loved so much of this. I loved going back to the Jupa squad or Jupa base or whatever they called themselves, but Wolf and Gregor, now they have an AT-AT.
Hell yeah.
You can land a ghost on.
Yeah, that was wild.
I
was like, that thing would just collapse under the ghost weight.
And then Hondo and Melch hanging out with them there. And like, I guess Hondo's a rebel now. Well, I love seeing Hondo being part of the rebellion.
Right.
Even though I guess they're paying him. I guess he's doing it for money.
Well, I think he just has to say that. I don't think he's actually going to get anything from this, but yeah.
But Rex is in his Return of the Jedi gear. He looks like the old rebel who helps in the Battle of Endor, who used to be called in reference books and stuff Nick Sant, because he looked like Santa Claus, I guess, like Saint Nick Sant. But now Dave Filoni says like he's Rex, so and he's in charge, so I guess he's Rex.
All right.
So, but seeing that was cool. And yeah, I love Gregor and Wolf. Man, it's like we're down to like the last 2 clones. With but I've been talking about this the whole time we've been watching the show. But I've been talking about how the cool thing in season 4 when all of these characters they cross paths with along the way throughout the 4 seasons of the show. But Vizago, Kitsu Onyo, Wolf, Gregor, Jai. He was there.
Yeah.
The Zuko kid. Mart Matten, yeah. Strider, Azadi. I liked the trap to get Price. And that was another thing, is like they're able to play Price because like she's so worried about her own career. Like she was determined to be the one to deal with the rebel problem on Lothal. So she blew up her own fuel pod. And Thrawn's like, you idiot, so you ended up shutting down production anyways. That's what the rebels were trying to do.
Yeah.
But she was just so worried about advancing her own career.
Yeah.
And then here, Ryder is able to talk her into this trap. But also, I guess I get the impression that they were political rivals before the Empire. They were like different political parties or something who like ran for governor against each other. Mm-hmm. And he must have won. But then the Empire formed, and then she was like, well, I'll be like the loyal Imperial puppet. So then Palpatine installed her. I think that's where these governors come from. I think Palpatine appoints them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, long story short, the 2 of them hate each other. So it was just kind of fun to see him dog walk her into this trap. And then Hondo's pirate trick of... You hide your ship with no power right next to the hyperspace lane, where like the ships are going to be jumping out of hyperspace and like might hit you. It's happened to Hondo a few times. He's done it many times.
Yeah, he was like, I can't count that.
It sounds like he's also been hit many times doing this. But yeah, he basically was like, yeah, it's very risky, but we're just going to have to take that risk. So I guess I was just hanging a lantern on that, but Ruck gets tossed off a cliff in this episode. And it's like, I don't think he dies. And then, like, he comes back in the next episode.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on A Fool's Hope?
I just love all the wolf action.
Oh, yeah, the wolves have a big role to play here,
and more in the next episode, but I like that Price is terrified of the Loth wolves.
We talk about, different Force users have different strengths and weaknesses, and, some people are good at stuff, some people aren't. Anakin, for example, was good at most everything, but he wasn't good at commanding creatures. Here we see Ezra be, I guess, the best Jedi ever with creatures. And he doesn't even, really command them. It's just, he just, gets on the same page with them,
That's why he works so well with them. Because it's kind of... Ezra is a cat person. He grew up with Loth cats. And that's why he's so good with animals, because he's used to dealing with cat consent, which is basically, I do what I want, and you just have to go with it.
Yeah, he knows how to, make everyone's goals aligned where they get on the same page, But, with the Purrgil and the Loth Wolves, that's cool. And that's cool, unique, different Force things that don't freak me out too much. Let's move on then to the big finale. So the last Rebels episode we're ever going to talk about in this chronological rewatch. But episodes 15 and 16 combined, Family Reunion and Farewell.
With Price as their prisoner, the Rebels force her to give them the clearance codes to infiltrate the Imperial Command Center at the Capitol. They seize the control room and plan to issue an evacuation order for all Imperial forces to return to the command center, then launch it into space to self-destruct. Also, a huge thing of mass murder. They're fine with that. Rook overhears the plan and warns Thrawn, who tasks him with disabling the planetary shield. Kallus issues the evacuation order and all Imperial forces enter the command center, but before they can launch, Thrawn arrives and positions the Star Destroyer directly above the city. Once Rook disables the shield generators, Thrawn orders the rebels to surrender, or he will bombard the city. Ezra decides to surrender to stall Thrawn while the rest of the rebels move to reactivate the shields. Thrawn puts Ezra in contact with a hologram of Darth Sidious. Meanwhile, Mart realizes the plan is in trouble and takes the Ghost to enact a backup plan Ezra had given him by sending a signal over Frequency Zero to summon help. As the rebels fight their way to the shield generator, Sidious tries to tempt Ezra with a promise to revive his parents. Ezra refuses the Emperor's deal and escapes custody, while the rebels are able to raise the shield before Thrawn can commence bombardment of the city. Zeb is able to track Rook inside the generator as it activates, killing him. Gregor is mortally wounded in the fight and dies. Ezra fights his way to Thrawn and reveals that he arranged Mart to call the Purrgil, who arrive and destroy Thrawn's fleet. The Purrgil then grab Thrawn's flagship and prepare to drag it into hyperspace. Despite pleas from his friends, Ezra decides to stay on the ship to make sure Thrawn is defeated for good, and they jump away. With Thrawn's fleet gone, the rebels proceed with the plan to launch and destroy the command center. Price chooses to stay and go down with it, rather than remain a prisoner of the rebels. Upon witnessing the destruction of the command center, the people of Lothal celebrate, and Hera is confident that they will be able to resist any Imperial attempts to recapture the planet. And then there's a flash forward. 5 years later, thanks to the Rebel Alliance's victory at the Battle of Endor, which both Hera and Rex took part in, the feared Imperial counterattack on Lothal never comes, and the Ghost crew go their separate ways. Zeb takes Kallus to Lyra San to show him that he didn't truly exterminate all the Lasat species, and that he is welcome there as one of them. Hera and Rex continue to fight with the Rebel Alliance, and it is revealed that Hera gave birth to her and Kanan's son, Jason Syndulla. Sabine teams up with Ahsoka Tano to search for Ezra, leaving behind a mural on Lothal depicting the Ghost crew.
Yeah, and that's the setup for Ahsoka.
Yeah.
That I think originally was going to be a setup for
a different animated
show. A Rebels sequel show. I think they were hey, we're going to do, Season 7 of Clone Wars to, finish off Clone Wars, and then they're then we're going to do kind of Season 5 of Rebels, but it'll be, Rebels post Return of the Jedi. I think that was the plan.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so, big things. The defeat of Thrawn. The Bindu was right. The Bindu said, "I see your defeat. You'll be wrapped in many arms," or something like that. But yeah, when he gets wrapped up in the Purgil tentacles.
Yeah, that's the coolest part of this whole episode to me. The taking of the command center feels very every time they infiltrate a building, I feel like they do this quite frequently, so they're experienced at it, and this is just a bigger scale, which works, and it's cool to see everybody working together on it, but it is kind of a silly plan that they want all the stormtroopers and Imperials back on this command center that they're gonna be on and launch that, so it's kind of funny because they're literally bringing all the enemy to them, and Zeb points that out whenever they're being shot by the stormtroopers. He's like, actually, this is kind of a terrible plan because they're all here with us. But I liked Thrawn showing up and hovering right above. He's really smart. He's such an intimidating bad guy.
Yeah.
You know?
And he has no he is so calm and even tempered, but then that kind of makes it even scarier when he's gonna do something so heinous and evil. It's just I'm just gonna start blowing up civilians until you surrender to me.
What did you think of the whole Ezra, Sidious, Palpatine fake parents thing?
I love that.
Really?
I think that's just so creepy. This evil, just this ugly, hideous Sidious, just mean-looking emperor, and then he appears as this sweet old man.
Fake.
Yeah, you were.
Oh, I made a joke. I said, "Oh, his Zoom filter fell off whenever he went from Palpatine to Sidious."
But him offering Ezra his parents back, that's it's almost kind of religion, it's hey, you want to see your dead loved ones again? It's almost like this is the one thing we can offer you that no one else can. That's the the greatest temptation. What could have been a greater temptation for Ezra?
Yeah. I think it's actually kind of funny not funny haha, but funny repetitive. Sidious kind of does this to Anakin with Padme, where he's kind of oh, well, you can have Padme, she'll live forever, I'll save her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because this is why the Jedi teach that attachments are forbidden, because because of this temptation has led people to the dark side before.
Right.
So they overcorrect and be we have to ban all attachment.
Right.
And then they end up banning compassion.
But do you see how it works here? Because Ezra's attachment to his new family, the Ghost, Kanan, Hera, Sabine, Zeb, Chopper, that's what keeps him from running into... he does struggle with it for a second. He does consider it, I'm sure. But he knows it's wrong. And he has already made closure with his parents, in the past. And so having this new attachment to his new family saved him in this situation, So.
Yeah, that's a great point. And like we're saying, it's the Jedi who have the attachments that are healthy and good.
Mm-hmm.
It's Rebels Jedi are superior to Clone Wars Jedi.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the point. I think that's kind of the intention,
Yeah, I agree. And I'm realizing through watching this season, all these seasons so quickly back to back, is I don't love Ezra in the beginning. I don't hate him, but he's a cocky little shit
he's
kid.
He's meant to be a brat.
Yeah. And he grows so much. And I love the character growth in this show is so good for everyone, but Ezra...
Dal RL in Star Trek Prodigy has a very similar arc.
Yeah. But Ezra is so good in this last season of Rebels. Having gone through his whole Sith experiment, and trusting the wrong people, and then learning to rely on his family. He's really starting to be an epitome of good Jedi to me, Ahsoka. How I think of Ahsoka as being
He's like, to use another Star Trek term, he's the next generation
Yeah.
Ahsoka, you know?
Yeah, like this is what I have hopes that the future of the Jedi will be like. Is like this integration of the Jedi history, but also relearning like ancient Jedi stuff that's been abandoned, but also like using your natural force abilities that you like. You're super sensitive to animals, and Ezra leans into that, you know. And I think that is what I'm excited to see more. You know, I'm excited for the Ahsoka show too, because I don't remember how I feel about like Ezra's growth in that too. So I'm excited to see even more of his Jedi-ness or his not so Jedi-ness.
Yeah. After this finale, I'm really excited to see Ahsoka again. Melch and Gregor, they do that fake out with Melch where you think this Ugnaught we've said they put him in the show just enough to make us attached to him. Yeah, I didn't want to see him die. They did like the stupid joke of
they do fly.
Yeah, of Zeb tossing an Ugnaught.
That was kind of funny though.
Yeah, like that should have been in the trailer. In the series finale of Rebels, you will believe an Ugnaught can fly. That was the trailer for the Christopher Reeve Superman. It was like, you will believe a man can fly.
Oh. I thought it was cute that Hondo and Melch have bonded so much. Because he, like, always has a different crew. We never see the same people with him.
Yeah.
And this is the first time we've had a repeat Hondo sidekick.
And a lot of them, he used to have that lizard monkey. And a lot of those Florum guys seemed...
They all look the same, so I don't know for sure if they were the same or not. But, you know, he always said, like...
They all look like Hondo with no helmet and no goggles.
And no beard.
Yeah.
Or no gray beard. But remember he always would say, like, oh, I expect my people to betray me and leave and do this and come back and whatever. So...
Yeah, Melch has stuck with them.
He's been his most loyal right-hand Ugnaught. But yeah, Gregor was rough for you.
They brought back the T-shirt too. It looks like a hamburger, either next to French fries or a hamburger with a cape. But
I was thinking it looks like Vasquez rocks with a hamburger.
We don't know what.
Do you know it might be a building? The hamburger might be like a domed building and like a landscape.
Maybe.
But goddamn, that shirt is a graphic tee.
Yeah. I wonder. We could probably find out who to ask. Like,
yeah, we could probably find that online.
Somebody knows.
Gregor's T-shirt explained. But yeah, he dies. That was emotional, having him and Rex like say goodbye to each other. Especially
after watching the Clone Wars, and we saw him with that dumb droid shit in D Squad and Colonel Gascon.
Yeah.
And then he comes back in the Bad Batch as this really cool character who helps Rex form that clone rebellion. And then we see him as this goofball slinging for Jupers, or Jupas, whatever, and Rebels. And then like this dude who knew nothing but like war all his life, and then like here he just like he fought his last battle here. Like I don't know, he went out a good soldier.
Yeah. Well, I like the way he says, well, we got to go out on our terms in a battle we chose.
A fight in a battle that they chose.
Yeah.
Like he and it was part of this, he was just helping out in this collective effort to free Lothal. But like, he chose to do that.
Yeah. Love.
Oh yeah, that was so
Moving.
Cool. Yeah. Now we're just down to Rex and Wolf. Like the last two. Oh, the Wolf Pack is back. That was so fun to have Wolf and Gregor be clone bros together.
Yeah.
And because we missed the clones from the Clone Wars. The heart and soul of that show. I say this to Taylor all the time, but to me, ideally, Star Wars is the scrappy underdog rebels fighting the evil space Nazis in the Rebels versus the Empire. But when I can't get that, I'll take as a close second clones blasting droids. I really like that too. So, the Sabine and Ezra stuff we've been talking about. When Ezra, he kind of follows in Kanan's footsteps and sacrifices himself when he surrenders to Thrawn and to go get like the the final temptation of Ezra Bridger from the Emperor. Of like, hey, I can bring your parents back. But Sabine trusting Ezra to go do that when no one else would have wanted him to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is like all those solo missions together over this season.
Like, they had such like a respect for each other.
And I think an end game, like she has like she can like see the look in his eye and she's like, he has a plan. Like, I trust his plan. Like, she's like, I don't know.
She has faith in him.
Yeah, she's like, I don't know the whole story. I don't know how it's going to end, but he's determined. He's figured it out, and I trust him to go forward. So she covers for him.
And he trusts her with his lightsaber.
Yeah.
Chopper delivers the green lightsaber to her.
And he says something, he leaves her a message. He says something like, I trust you to continue.
Yeah, I can count on you.
Yeah, I can count on you.
And she's like, well, count on me to do what? I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, he left like that sweet message for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, he had a good goodbye note. And definitely very inspired by Kanan, you know. He was like, I saw my master literally give his entire life for everything. I can give some of my time to free Lothal, you know? Like, he's...
Yeah, I can handle Thrawn and the Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
Me and my Purrgil can take care of this.
We can go to this other galaxy and I'll
Hera
figure it
will come
out.
get me.
Yeah, he has faith.
They'll beat the Empire. They'll stop the Emperor and then they'll come get me. And look, it only took like 10 years.
Yeah. I don't even think he was that mad about it, honestly.
No.
Yeah, he was completely...
This was his plan.
That was his thing, is like, Kanan was completely at peace.
Yeah.
And so was Ezra. Like, they made up their minds.
Yeah, because they do the Jedi thing of like they know when to let go, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's like there's like a balance there, yeah.
I think, honestly, too, for Ezra to be in that world between worlds probably also super helped him come to terms with this. Because think about, you're like, oh, these Purgils are gonna take me anywhere. I don't know where the hell I'm going. And he's like, but there's that weird place in between everything that connects us all together. Like, the Force is strong with me. I've been there before. I'll figure it out. Like, someone will find me.
Yeah, that would be a very unique perspective.
Yeah. He's like, I literally pulled Ahsoka from Darth Vader's lightsaber, clash, you know?
Yeah, that's a confident boost, I guess.
Yeah. So, who knows? Well, do you have anything else on the in-timeline events?
Oh, yeah, we get that flash forward. I actually considered stopping the episode and just be like, let's just watch the original trilogy and then watch this.
I think that we should watch the end of this episode again right before we start Ahsoka.
Yeah.
So, because it picks up with the same scene, but in live action. So I think it would be cool to do that. But I think we could still talk about it here.
Maybe one day we'll rewatch Rebels and then just go straight into Ahsoka.
Yeah.
And then we'll just go like from this episode to the first episode of it. Like that's kind of what it's designed to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like they could have kind of done like after they did Clone Wars season 7, they could have done like a Rebels season 5, and it would have picked up from there. Yeah. But instead they just did a live action Ahsoka show. So.
Well, that's actually funny that you mentioned that because when Ahsoka came out, I think I watched it first before I met you.
Yeah, and then we rewatched it.
I think when I was telling you, because I was like, I want to rewatch it, I was like, it's basically Rebels season 5.
Yeah, those were some of our early dates. In 2023, Taylor would come over to my place and we would watch an episode of Ahsoka on Friday nights after I would do the TEX-TREK streams with Dave. Yeah, and you had seen it all one time, at least
once, yeah. I think I was watching it for the second time with you. And that's always better for me the second time around. The first time I'm always like, this is so much information, my brain can't keep up. And then the second time I'm like, oh, I understand what's going on.
But I was blown the fuck away when I saw Sabine in Ezra's house. on Lothal
Mm-hmm.
in the first episode of Ahsoka. Like, she's in, like, that house, like, the big water tower-looking house.
Oh, yeah, the tower.
And then Clancy Brown is there as Azadi.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy fuck, like, this is Rebels Season 5.
But yeah, I really like the flash forward. Low-key, though, I never picked up on this before, but I did a little bit this time, and I don't know what has changed. But I felt there was a little bit of, like, a thing between Zeb and Callus.
I've heard a lot of people say that. That's a big theory. That's a big shit.
Never picked that up before.
Oh, yeah, you had. We've talked about that before.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember. This is the first time I've definitely been like, oh, I see it. He's literally taking him home to his parents. Like, he's literally taking him there.
Well, Callus got so concerned for Zeb during
when he fell.
The Zeb Ruck fight. That was so
really
cool.
Good.
That was like, you know how, like, in Game of Thrones, everyone was, like, so hyped to see the Clegane Bowl? They wanted to see the Clegane brothers.
Oh, the Mountain and the
Hound fight each other.
Yeah.
This was like that fight of Rebels. It was like, Rook versus Zeb, because they duke it out for a while. That was cool.
Yeah.
And then a gruesome ending. He's so mean to Thrawn, too. And Thrawn is like, Rook, where are you? And Zeb's like, you might want to call back in a few minutes. He's busy. As he's being, like fried to death.
Actually, no need to call back.
Yeah.
That was dark.
Yeah. But, yeah, these guys are space Nazis, so fuck them.
Yeah.
Zeb is pissed about Kanan. He had been wanting to kill Rook ever since then.
Yeah.
He's like, my best friend just died, and you are ugly and scary as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, I'm taking it out on you, motherfucker.
Yeah. But Rook could, like, smell Zeb. So, like, every time that they were around, he's like, Lothal.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, I smell the rebels. And it's just Zeb. But anyways, yeah, I liked Callus getting to see Lara San. That was a good addition. We've already talked a lot about Kanan's kid with Hera, Jason. So we won't. Yeah. We don't have to. We don't have to beat that dead horse
half
again.
Twilight kid's kind of weird, but
he is ugly. I will be the first to tell y'all. Like, sorry, but they didn't do a very good job animating this kid.
Well, just for one shot.
I kind of wish he was more Twilight and less human looking. But they had to do that because for the audience, like, they want people to be like, oh, that's Kanan's kid.
Yeah, they wanted to make it really obvious.
Ugh. But, yeah, stoked that Ahsoka came back for Sabine. Loved the mural at the end. Good, you mentioned, too, like, Sabine had reference to the Mortis mural from the Lothal temple and did the Ghost Crew kind of in that similar look and style.
Yeah, it was like a tribute to it. Almost as kind of like a, like an apology to Lothal. Like, I'm sorry the Empire came and, like, looted your planet and your art, and here, let me give something back to you.
Yeah.
Let me try to do, like, your style.
Yeah.
But I have 2 questions for you. One, was there any supporting character they met along the way who, you know, could have come and helped out that you think they should have had show up here? Like, they couldn't really have, like, Saw Gerrera because he's off on Jeddah. Like, he's already been sent on that.
Oh.
He's got to be there for Rogue One. Like, I was thinking, like, maybe...
Wedge.
Yeah, Wedge. Maybe...
KP5.
You mean AP5?
AP5, sorry. I can't remember everything, okay?
But, or maybe like R2 or Bell Organa, but I guess they're busy.
No, they don't need to be there.
But what about Lando Calrissian?
They have Vizago and Hondo.
This might be too close to like when Lando's supposed to be doing like Bespin stuff, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
also, I don't think they trust Lando like that.
True. Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. Lando's not really supposed to work with rebels until The Empire Strikes Back. So yeah, they made really good choices about. They kind of brought like you couldn't really have Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like he can't really leave Tatooine. Right. He made a big deal about that last time. So, okay. My other question then. Where was Ahsoka the entire original trilogy?
Oh. 1 second, I thought of another character. Leonis never shows back up.
Yeah,
Leonis and he was on
cool.
Lothal.
Yeah.
So that's kind of weird that he was forgotten.
That is weird.
But they remember Jai.
Yeah.
Who was also force sensitive that they never trained, so that's weird. But they mentioned that he's force sensitive. Like, that's why they take him out of the academy.
Hey, it would have been
Ezra.
cool if that Mon Calamari engineer was like, what do you know? I finally decided to fly one of my ships. And he comes in on the blade wing and, like, takes out, like, 3 TIE defenders in, like, one shot or something.
Yeah.
That would have been cool if he showed up.
That would have been too much, I think.
But yeah,
for one episode.
And the B wing, I guess, isn't supposed to be in action yet, so.
I think they had a good group, though. I think I would have liked to see Leonis, because he was on Lothal.
Yeah.
And I think I would have wanted to see Wedge and AP5 again. AP5 a lot, because he would have fucking hated those Loth Wolves, though.
Yeah, they could have came in on the Ghost with Callus and Hera. When they came back with Hondo. Yeah, they could have brought Wedge and AP5.
But to be honest, though, AP5 is probably super needed at
cool?
Rebel Base.
You know who else would have been cool? As if Cham Syndulla was like, you know what, Hera, I'm gonna come help you on this one.
He's busy though. He's obsessed with Ryloth. That's all he cares about. So.
See, I would kind of want to learn more about like Jason Syndulla growing up, because also you have Cham Syndulla as a grandfather, so that would be. And then you're like this humany looking kid, but like your grandpa is like the most famous Twi'lek ever. So
yeah.
That would be an interesting life to live. I think there's potential there for that story. Like, what if that's like who like Rey Skywalker ends up training as like a teenager Grogu, and
Ahsoka?
No, Rey Skywalker.
You think?
Like who she might like end up training.
Why would she train Jason?
Well, I guess he would be.
He would be way older than her.
Older than her. Okay, so maybe like but I was just trying to think like this class of like Jedi in the future.
Oh.
Is you'd have like a Jason Syndulla and like. Eventually, Grogu's gonna get like out of his toddler phase. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like,
hopefully,
like maybe like Rey can meet like a Grogu, but he acts like a 13-year-old instead of a 3-year-old. What do you mean? Like, are you tired of Baby Yoda?
I haven't even gotten to him yet. Okay,
Same.
to answer your other question was the Ahsoka.
Yeah, where the hell is she? Like during like Rogue One and the original trilogy, like she's just.
She's still on Malachor looking for a ride off that goddamn planet.
Well, what'd she eat?
I don't know. Snails.
Maybe there's like rodents or something in Sith temples.
Who knows? I don't know. I don't know where she has been.
Maybe
I don't think that she
Maybe
joins the Rebel Alliance. Like, I don't think she would.
But she was like Bail Organa's like right-hand person.
I don't know.
She
That's
was like
hard.
one of the founders of it.
Because like for a minute I was kind of like, oh yeah, she's in the world between worlds for so long. That's why she misses so much of it. But you're right. Like Ezra pulls her out like right before the big stuff. So.
I was wondering if she stayed on Lothal first. Maybe there's a line in Ahsoka about that. But she didn't never come to
Lothal until 5 years later to come get Sabine. Because she was still in Malachor at the end of season 4 of Rebels. Like, she didn't come back with Ezra to Lothal.
I still want another animated show that would be, like, post-Rebels to kind of follow some of that stuff.
I want an Ahsoka show that's the Lost Years.
Yeah.
Where is she?
Like, I want to see how her and Luke met for the first time. And I think that story should be told in animation because Ahsoka's a creation of animation. And also, Mark Hamill is...
amazing voice actor.
Yeah, famous as being a voice actor. Like, let him voice Luke. Like, tell him like, okay, voice Luke at whatever age, and he can do it.
Yeah.
So
he could also voice, like, 10 other characters that show. Yeah. You only have to hire one actor. Yeah, I don't know where she is. I do think she would be supporting, like, the Rebels somehow. But I think, like, she doesn't want to be part of, like, Mon Mothma's Rebel Alliance because she's a Jedi.
She's an outsider?
Because she's super recognizable. This is something that kind of came up in Rebels before when Kanan and Ezra were like, well, we can't be around y'all because we're constantly being hunted by the Inquisitors and, like, and Palpatine.
She might be doing Inquisitor shit. Yeah.
So she also did have a whole thing where she was rescuing the Force-sensitive babies from Palpatine.
Yeah. I was wondering if maybe, like, she stays on Lothal to help, like, keep the Empire off of it. as like a thank you to Ezra, but you just
Yeah,
pointed
I
out
don't
like she
know.
doesn't show up.
She
on
never
Lothal
goes back to
until,
Lothal until
yeah,
she
so.
gets Sabine that we know of.
Even though she told Ezra like, okay, yeah, like I'll come to you, and then
Well, I think that he meant. I don't think that he realized. I don't think they realized it, but he meant like come find me whenever he's literally yeeted into Purgil space.
yeah,
He's like something crazy's gonna happen. I don't know what, but come find me. Like, it wasn't like a time-sensitive thing. You know what I mean? It was just come find me when you can. I don't know if that makes sense. But I choose to believe that Ahsoka is protecting all the little Force-sensitive children out there.
there might be an explanation that's in the show.
Dealing with the Inquisitors, or working to find more Jedi Temple stuff and protect those things. I don't know.
Well,
You have anything else to add?
no. Oh goodness, we've been talking for a while.
I know.
Well,
Our longest show yet? I don't think
No.
so. Andor season 1, I think, was our longest show. A lot happened.
the Revenge of the Sith one was like 3.5 hours.
Oh,
right?
shit. I don't remember. But we're going to be returning to Andor next time.
Yeah.
So we'll be watching the last 3 episodes of season 2 of Andor, and then directly into Rogue One.
Yeah.
So that will be the next show. Will be those
Yep.
4 things.
Yeah, and that'll be streamed live on May the 3rd, because then on May the 4th, we're going to do the original trilogy with 3 streams, 1 for each movie.
Yeah. Y'all gotta buckle in that day. May the 4th be with you. We'll be riding it with the original 3. And I'm guessing we'll be watching your original cuts, not Disney
we're
Plus
gonna do
version.
the despecialized edition.
Yeah.
So, because that's how I roll.
Yeah,
So.
I'm excited because I don't think I've seen those since I was probably in
we
junior
watched them,
high.
We watched them a year ago.
Oh, okay, well. Why do I have, like, no memory of this? You keep reminding me that we did, and I'm like, when? I don't remember.
Yeah, right after we watched Andor for the first time.
Man, I must have been checked the hell out. I don't know. I don't remember. Like, kind of remember. I remember watching Andor and Rogue One. Like, I remember going straight from the season 2, episode 12, right into Rogue One.
Yeah, we're about to do that again.
Yeah, but I don't remember watching the trilogy right after that.
No, we did.
Okay, I believe you. But,
And
anyways.
then we watched the sequels after that.
We did. I remember that because we got into a big fight. Because there's a lot about the sequels I hate that you love, which that'll be another show.
Well, that's The Last Jedi. I think it's a great movie. And
Ugh. It's fine. We'll have our own. We'll have a whole show about our pros and cons and disagreements on that movie. But
it's my 4th favorite Star Wars movie.
well, good for you.
But yeah, so we have decided we are actually gonna get to the sequels this year, but it might be a little bit before we get around to it. But yeah, we'll but that's gonna be post Grogu.
Yeah.
So they're not even on the spreadsheet yet. I'm gonna do a spreadsheet update after Maul is out, and that's another thing we're gonna be covering soon. But that'll be post Grogu too. So Andor and Rogue One next. But that's kind of sad to say goodbye to these shows, our 2 favoriteest Star Wars shows, right? With Rebels and Andor. This was the time of the timeline we were most excited for, so goodbye to those. But I'm very excited to get into the original trilogy soon.
Me too.
But that'll do it for today. But everyone out there, remember, the Empire is for bootlickers. Be a rebel, and may the Force be with you.